I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is right, just representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Yes. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. You heard it loud and clear. Happy Independence. Happy Independence to you and to you. Again, thank you so much for joining us for our Friday show. I know it's a public holiday. You're probably wondering, what are we doing? Talking about football in the heights of the Olympics. But you know, the show must go on. That's what they say. And we have a very good one lined up for you today. We have some good stuff. Yeah, you're going to really enjoy this one on this Independence Day. Yes, so welcome. Good afternoon. Good morning if you're in the morning time. Good evening if you're in the evening time. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am Omar Stennett, a.k.a. Man. Yeah. The one. Yeah. We're going to tell about some good Jamaican football at this time. But let me just share with you a couple of things. I mean, let me just say, on this Independence Day, I want to big up all our Olympians, all those who went to participate and are still participating in the Tokyo Olympics 2020, though we are in 2021. The pandemic kind of, affected how things operated. But nonetheless, respect to all the Olympians, one of my medal prospects, girl from my community, hometown, went to the same high school, Stephanie Ann McPherson. Man, she had a hamstring injury in the 400 meters final, and she never medal. But listen, the whole of Westmoreland love you, Stephanie Ann. The whole of Mannings love you, and all of Jamaica have you 100%. These things happen. If at first you don't succeed, brush yourself off and try again. So you have the World Championship. Just take the rest of the season off, recover, and then let's go out to Portland, Oregon in 2022 and medal at the World Championships. Don't know if you'll go back to the Olympics. I hope the relay team, you understand me, will win a medal for you, Miss McPherson. But, I know you are disappointed, and that's okay. But we, the ones who love you, we are extremely happy that you sacrificed so much to represent us at the Olympics. Yeah, all right? So big up to Stephanie and McPherson. And we're not trying to, undermine what the other athletes have done. But we really want to big her up because, we know that if she was at 100%, she would have indeed medal for our nation. And so, again, big up to you and to all the athletes, our 4x1 female team that ran a national record. Could have gone faster if the button changes were more smooth. That's Brianna Williams to Elaine Thompson era. And then from there, It went to Shelley and Fraser Price, to Sharika Jackson. The men were not so fortunate, but still big them up because initially none of us even thought that they would have been in the final. But once they got in the final and the USA were out, everybody started saying, yeah, 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 Jamaica is going to medal. And so when they didn't, everybody, kind of felt disappointed, wanted to give them a hard time. But if you go back to what originally happened, they weren't supposed to be in the final really, based on what we have seen from them. And they gave a good effort. They got into it. So commendations to them, man. Big them up. You understand me? And sorry that you and Blake didn't get his medal, but you take many years of dedicated service to the country in track and field, and we really appreciate that. We respect your stellar work, man, from St. Diego, originally from Montego Bay. You understand me? And so we know it's hard. Know you really wanted to medal, but that's how it is. You win some, you lose some. You understand me? That's just the way that sports goes. But we still love and support all our athletes, for putting in the work and representing the country. And until sometimes you represent your country or your community in sports, you don't realize the kind of sacrifice that athletes, whether it be cricket or football or basketball, you don't understand sometimes the kind of preparation and the sacrifices people make to be in the position that they are, to represent their country or even their community. And so don't give them a hard time, you understand, because you have never done it, so sometimes you don't understand the rigors of it, you understand. So yeah, so yeah, man. So bam. All right. The real thing is that we want to get into the JPL. We're waiting on our guests to come on and stuff. But what are your thoughts so far on the Jamaica Premier League? How many of the games have you been watching? Are you seeing any players that you look at and say, you know what? The national team preparing for the World Cup is short in this position. I wonder if they could look at this particular player. Is that the case with you, or you have just written off all the players in the JPL? What about the influx of young players in the JPL? What are your thoughts on them? Who has impressed you the most? Who you look at and say, you know what, this is one of those players who I believe in the next couple of years he could move into Europe, because that is the important thing. We don't we're not trying to be dismissive of the USL or the MLS, but really and truly we want our players to be heading into the European market. Yeah, someone is asking a very big up, always on the hey, listen, Nakis, thanks for the support, man. Always appreciate the love and the support. Always appreciate it. Every week you're here from we started this thing. You understand me? Man, one of them day we have to make you a moderator, man, and help us moderate the thing. But really appreciate the support. Yeah, he's actually 16 years old, He means that plays for Harbor View. He's a student at Excelsior High School. So you probably go, well, personally, and this is just me, if I were his handler, I would not have him play schoolboy football again. You understand me? I'd pull him out of that system and begin to develop him. But he is 16 years old. And so people, if you have not been watching this youngster, please watch him. He's playing some good football. He's 16. He's matching up with what I would call the big men in the league. And if you don't know his age, you wouldn't know. If we don't tell his age, you wouldn't look at the field. He's muscular. He's tall. He's very good aerially. He's good in terms of his speed. Very, very good young footballer. And he's someone that I'm thinking that we may need to really look at and see if there's a way that we can mature him, groom him into represent the national team. Very, very good player. He plays out there at Harborview. But is there any other young player? He's one of them. He's very, very good. Very impressed with him. But like I said, I think sometimes we have these talented footballers go back into the schooling system. And personally, I think we need to find a way, because this is a prime, the right age and the prime time for him, I believe, to begin to look at going overseas and playing overseas at this time. That's what I think. I don't think, he should be lingering in schoolboy football. To what end? To what end? But he's one. I mean, anybody else? Who else out there stand up? Who else out there you say, you know what? Even at the junior level, at the senior level, one of the players that have been very, very, Ming from Cavalier, very good as well. But you know what? The other defender from Cavaliers, who I think have been playing better than Ming, because I think Ming allowed the goal in the last Cavalier game. I think the other defender, the guy called King, he's like 17 years old. Solid center back, tall, very good with the ball at his feet. Yeah, King, very, very good center back for a 17-year-old. Again, playing very, very well. Have one of the better defenses in the league, Cavaliers. Ming is a little older. I think he's probably early 20s or 20-year-old now, but King is young. Right. And then there you go. Big up. Yeah, man. Big up, Luddy. Yeah. Chong, not bad from Harborview as well. Good youngster. Also, I saw this guy for a couple of weeks now, Arnett Gardens captain, Godfrey. I'm going to check out his age, but he's one of them that is playing some good football. Godfrey from Arnett Garden. He's the captain. He had a very, very good game in the last game. In fact, he has made our team of the week for this week, because he really had a very good game for Arnett Gardens. Has been playing well. A steady presence in the Arnett Gardens team since the beginning of the season. I know he was there from last year. Yeah, but good youngster. Good youngster as well. Yeah. I saw this. Have you read the reports of Biggs from a non-league moving? Yeah. I saw that, Heard that he's good. I've never actually seen him. I'm not sure what school he attended, but I know the club that he left from, Racing, is a club that is operated by Anthony Patrick. He was there last year. Have a lot of players from Dintil and St. Catherine High School who had a very good run. Very, very, very good run last season. Romario Guthrie is the name of the youngster from Arnett Garden. But this is telling us, because watch this. This is telling us that here it is that we have a player in Biggs, for example, who never, as far as I know, he has not played in the Premier League, and he's gone into Europe. He has a very good agent. Maybe we need to find out who his agent is. Yeah. Maybe we need to find out. There you go. It makes us wonder, who is this guy's agent that playing in non-league football, basically amateur level in Jamaica. Somebody saw him, said something, and now he's overseas. Tremendous story. I think is the second guy outside of St. Catherine, because remember Peter McGregor is his name, is also he left from St. Catherine. Peter McGregor, that we don't know, he never really had any Premier League team that he played for on a consistent basis, and he also moved. What is happening in St. Catherine? Maybe we need to talk to Mr. Patrick's and those people over in St. Catherine to find out what is happening, because there are other players like Jimenez. Why can't Jimenez be in Europe playing? A 16-year-old at the level that he's at. You know, the same King at Cavaliers. Why isn't he playing in Europe? Shaquille Thomas. Right? You have this other guy that a couple of seasons ago, he was at St. George's. He's now at Portmore United. Oh, just had his name, but Emilio Rosso. Very good left-sided defender if you play in a back three. And he also plays left wing back or left back. Any of those positions. Did well in schoolboy football. Has done well since he has gotten into the Portmore team. So what is it? Okay. Okay. So the agency is called International Dimension. Okay, cool. So they have Nicholson, Shamar Nicholson, Kaim Paris, Peter McGregor, Norman Campbell, and Biggs under their management. Whoa. Hey, Natties, look like you know a lot about this, man. You need to come on. And tell me more about it. It look like you run this agency, you know. Maybe you run this agency, you don't want to tell us, you know, but you need to tell us more about this agency. What is the formula? What are they doing to get so many players into the European market? And how other persons can be a part of that. How other players who are out there can be connected to this agency. So if you know how to get in touch with them, I'd love for you to do that, so we can hear from someone from International Dimension. Yeah, the agent or the agency that manages Karim Paris, Peter McGregor, Norman Campbell. You know that Karim Paris was also at Dean Till, so maybe, again, a school in St. Catherine. Maybe that's where he was also spotted. Now, I'm going to run through the results until our guests come on, and I'll still take some of your questions as we go. So let's begin with the first game of the weekend, the Humble Lion versus Waterhouse game. Humble Lion had their first victory of the season. Congratulations, Mr. Andrew Price and Humble Lion. Finally, the All-Stars, the big men, the mature, the well-aged, mature team got 3 points. Congratulations, Mr. Price. Sticking with the old guns, finally getting 3 points. 2 goals by Andrew Vanzi. Arnett Waterhouse had a goal by Colorado Murray. So and we keep talking about this, and I want you to, if you're a coach or you are a footballer watching these streams, I want you to look at the timeline for the goals in the league. Almost every week when we have goals being scored by both teams, as soon as one team score, immediately after that, within 5 minutes, there is an equalizer or a go-ahead goal. All right, listen to the timeline of these goals for this weekend. The first game, all right, Waterhouse took the lead in the 17th minute. In the 19th minute, 2 minutes afterwards, Andrew Vanzi scored. And then in the 43rd minute, he got a penalty. I think I love how the Waterhouse team plays, but I find that I don't know. I think they play the ball so much, or they keep the ball so much, but they are not scoring. They are not creating. I don't think they are creating enough chances in comparison to some of the players. But we have our first guest, Mr. Rudolph Speid. I'm going to add him to the stream, and Naktai, I'm going to ask him a couple of the things that he said, and then we continue with that. Mr. Speid.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
No man, we can't say thank you. You're part of the program. We can't say thank you for having it. You should say good to be back again this week.
All right. Good to be
Yeah,
back
man.
again this week.
Yeah. Well, I learned something before you came on. We're just taking some questions, and Natai said, we're talking about the Biggs, Ronaldo Biggs, I think his name is, that just moved to the European team. Guy from Racing in St. Catherine. Don't know if you heard
Yes.
this story. He
Yeah,
went
man.
to that team that Shamar Nicholson was. So he just informed me that the agency, this agency, I know one of your players are in their international dimensions, that they have Shamar Nicholson, Kaheem Paris, Norman Campbell, and Ronaldo Biggs now. On their, under their management.
Yeah, they also have Chevron Marsh.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And them have Chanel Thomas too.
Hey, you hear that, people? That this sound like breaking news, because Chanel Thomas, Chanel is still in Jamaica right now. So if he has an agency that is getting players in Europe, you know what that means. Do your own introspection, and dive into the information, and you figure what that means, that he could be the next player on the move to Europe, I think. Yeah. So all right, cool. But but I was just talking about the first game that was played. Okay, and here he's giving me a next name to that. They have Fabika Farkison. I think this is a Mullines player.
Yeah, the agent has been around for a while. I mean, it's not that they are a new agency. I mean,
Okay.
they had a lot of my players initially. They had Alex Marshall. They had a lot of players. So it's not, they have been around now for probably about 11 years operating in Jamaica. But I think, when you keep at it, eventually you start to get more. So they have a lot of players, man. It's not just those that is listed there either. They have other people that they have signed and look and trying to work with them.
Is it a locally led agency? Though it may not be locally based, or is it an overseas agency that has
Well, the
strong
person
connections?
who is from Jamaica is Kevin Cowan, and then he has a lot of other connections in Europe. So he's able to leverage those connections. So, but I mean, they are in an agency within a bigger agency, so they have a little reach. They have some power.
Okay. All right. So all right, great. So we'll deal with some of that on the back end. So let's run through some of the fixtures quickly. The first fixtures, the price was right.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you that I don't want to be playing that team anymore, because eventually they will get it right. That's Premier League. They won't lose 11 match for the season. And they have quality players. It's just really their preparation, and they took too long to get into stride. So that's what affected them.
Yeah. Okay, I think you represent Amal Knight as well. All right. But here's the thing. I am very, very concerned, right? Okay, so they said you got that one right. Yeah, that is true. I was watching the game and then I said, oh my God, what is going on? But here's the thing. The first game, right, in the 17th minute, Colorado Murray scored for Waterhouse.
Oh, he's quality.
Good goal. All right. And then 2 minutes after that, the equalizer. Every single week we have this. As soon as one team score, within 5 minutes, you can check the games. Every week there's a situation. Andrew Vanzi scored in the 19th minute, just 2 minutes apart. And then in the 43rd minute, he scores a penalty and they win 2-1. Why is it?
But why are you? No. But is a well-known football fact, and coach always tell people to be aware of those 5 minutes. 5 minutes at the start, 5 minutes before the halftime, 5 minutes after the half, 5 minutes near the end. If you notice, a lot of stoppage time goal too, because that is the time. And 5 minutes after somebody has scored goal, these are dangerous times, because people concentration level tend to go down, because we welcome in the break or welcome in the end, or we just start and we're not in the game yet, or we score so we're adrenaline down because we feel good about ourselves, but the other person don't feel good about themselves being scored on. So it's a phenomenon in the game from a long time, and the experts have been trying to figure it out, and nobody can. It's just one of those things that happens all the time. So teams have to be very wary at those 5 minutes intervals, or else they'll pay the price.
And you're saying that it doesn't matter whether it is local football or international football, it is the same phenomenon.
Right. So so part of it, as you say, is a lack of discipline. Someone said it here, and another part too is a concentration problem. But remember, we are human beings with emotion, and that is what come into play, the emotions.
Okay. So that's it. That's the Humble Lion Waterhouse game. All right. The second game was very interesting game. I think a little later we're gonna have Mr. Bernard hopefully on, and he's going to talk about this one because this was a very interesting one. Tivoli versus Harborview. It ended 1-1. All right. Christo J. Daly, a youngster, again scored in the 65th minute, and in 90 plus is this now additional the 7th minute of additional time. The equalizer came. All right. Now, I think Mr. Like a Ludlow Bernard is going to be on. Hopefully, I can ask him this. But there was some controversy at the end of this game. I don't know if you were watching it and you saw what happened. But there was some restraining of a couple of the Harborview coaching staff as they were approaching the referee. I don't know if in any hostile way, but they had to be restrained because I figured they thought when the board went up, it said 5 minutes. But as you see from the timeline, the goal was scored in the 7th minute. So I was saying it is a minimum when the board goes up, it's a minimum of 5 minutes that's supposed to be added. Right, Mr. Speid? Is that how it goes?
But to be honest, nobody really knows because I've been trying to narrow it down myself, and we don't really know. I suppose you have to get a referee to explain it because I wouldn't want to claim to be the authority. A lot of referees, if they say 5 minutes extra, if somebody sit down on the ground for 4 minutes, they still blow it off at 5 minutes. They're not going 1 second over. And then you have another set of referees who believe that if within the 5 minutes the person wastes 2 minutes, he's gonna play 2 minutes more. So, but I don't know who is right. To be honest, I really don't know who is right, but I've seen it practiced because there was a game the week before that played 17 minutes over because of one reason or the other. Yes, I've seen a game that it went on for 17 minutes after the 90 minutes in our CM league. So that just tells you that referee decided that if somebody wanted to lie on the ground for 10 minutes, he's going to play the 7 minutes like it's a real 7 minutes. So it's a matter of interpretation. And to be honest, I don't know who is right. I have a feeling that if somebody deliberately wastes the time for fair play, I would back the referee that make sure you play for the 7 minutes or the 5 minutes. Because remember, you lost 5 minutes of playing time, That is why the referee is playing for 5 minutes more. So if in that 5 minutes you start to sit down on the ground for 4.5 minutes out of it, I'm not against the referee playing the actual game, because if you ever reward teams for doing this, then in those extra time now, everybody will just sit down and that will be the end of that game. Sit down for 5 minutes. The goalkeeper, you can't change him, so him just sit down for 5 minutes. Okay, and the referee can applaud him. So I don't know.
All right, seems like we have a little glitch and Mr. C and Coach Speid's side. But if you're a referee, it would be good to hear from you. When it says minimum of 5 minutes, when does that stop? When does that stop? When does that stop? And that I think is the issue, because Harborview felt like a big injustice was done to them. Meaning 7 minutes were played instead of what the referee put up on the board. So, and bone of contention, game ended up 1-1. I think we had predicted that would have been the score line, given the fighting spirit of the Tivoli Gardens team. you may not like sometimes how they look or how they play, but the Steve Valley Gardeners team is a fighting team. They never stop, they never give in, they never give up. And that's the thing. You can't give them an opportunity. But let me add back, Mr. Speed. One of the things I realized that goalkeeping is so important. And like I said, Coach Bernard is trying to get on. So as soon as he gets on, I'm going to ask him this, because one of the problems I realized with the Harborview is that they made a change. Like, how do you manage stuff like this, Mr. Speed? You have a player.
No, well, it depends on which side you're on, a defense. If you have a lead, then you want the referee that will blow it off 5 minutes, whatever 5 minutes is. If you're on the person who is looking back the goal, then you want the referee to actually play 5 minutes. So we have this. So all of the coaches know that is a ploy in that particular part of the game, and we just get upset whenever we're on the bad end of it. But the truth is, either way, I think if you ask me, I would always go with the referee that plays the 5 minutes. Now, when you reach down in there, so you have certain options, right? And everybody stall for time, especially if momentum is against you. Unless he's a top team who can actually keep the ball, then you're not so worried. But otherwise, a lot of teams have a well-rehearsed movement for this. The center forward goes down and him lie down like somebody hurt him. The goalkeeper usually they don't make anybody else go down, because you want your center halves them on the field and your defensive players, but maybe one of the forward player go down or the goalkeeper who they can't play. So everybody know what to do, and they try to look like they fear when they're doing it and look as best as they can. But I mean, everybody uses it as a ploy. Another game you'll probably say above you use it.
Yes, as you can see, we're having some challenges with the internet and Mr. Speed side. But he will back. So when the referee said a minimum of whatever minutes, it doesn't mean he will play 5, he can play 10, because he did say minimum. The optimum word is minimum. You're absolutely right. But I think, and this is a very, Bernard made several changes, and the players he brought on kept losing the ball. Well, love to have the coach to respond. But part of it as well is that I think the keeper, because he was mishandling the ball throughout the game, it is what led to this. Like, Tivoli felt like if we can get enough balls in this box, this keeper is going to make mistake, because his ball handling was poor. Not only that, you'd have realized that in the interview after the game, Mr. Bernard said their goalkeeper, their original goalkeeper, was basically bench or disciplined. And this is part of the thing. Now, if you're a coach, how do you do this? You gave away 2 points because you decided to basically bench your best goalkeeper, because that's what Harborview did. The coach said at the end, if the keeper, obviously the original keeper who, his brother keeps for Waterhouse. There are 2 brothers, they are keepers. Forget the surname. But he wasn't even in the squad, and this is because of disciplinary reasons. And the team lost 2 points. Now, what if at the end of the season you miss out on 6th place because you didn't get these 2 points? Would you look back and say you should have played the player and find other ways of punishing him? How do coaches manage like this kind of thing? Because the risk is exactly what happened. You play a reserve keeper and he was at fault for the goal. What would you have done, Mr. Speed? Play your best keeper and then discipline him some other way, or you take him out of the game?
So if you have a corner league team and they just meet up for 3 months or 4 months every year, like a business house team, and play football, then you tend to try to keep all your best players on the pitch at all time. But if you have a club, that means you're building something, you're building an organization, you're building a way of life for the club, you're building how the club is supposed to operate in the present and in the future. Then you have to sacrifice some of the time, the points, for the structural building of your club. So what Harborview did, I agree with them totally. If it was me, it's the same thing. I really don't care what the result is. If you're indisciplined, out, and I'll just kind of get the players to understand that you are the person who's at fault. I will talk to the players and make point out say you are that guy. You are the person who's really at fault why we lose, from early. So there's no two-way about it, and also to reinforce to the other players that if we're indisciplined to out. So I agree with them. That's the best decision we could have made.
Okay, all right. So there you go. So how about you? Discipline. Well, discipline is important. A coach can decide to lose as long as the team play how he wants. All right. Is that an
Well,
easy road?
some coach now have that luxury, but because believe that their job is on the line, and their management doesn't give them the amount of time to build a team or build a club, and that is why I always say to coaches, when somebody asks if to coach a team, don't just ask where the ball is and where training is and what time. You need to sit down with management and find out where they're going, what they want. Do they want discipline? Some management don't want a discipline, so what you worry about? You understand? So it's something that you have to sit down with the management and find out how they want to operate, what is the status quo of the team, what they want to achieve in the future, what they want to achieve now, and make sure it's your working line when you're working for somebody. Some coach doesn't and get into trouble later.
All right, great. That was Godfrey Drummond. So we have Godfrey Drummond, former coach of Reno, Mannings High School, Petersfield High School, where again they call him Lenky Roy. Was a big ball at GC Foster College. You understand me? Back in the days, lethal striker. After me leave the school, him turned big striker while I was there. Couldn't get no game. Coach Drummond, how you doing?
I'm good. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, man, hearing you clearly. All right.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me,
You're most welcome, man. Very good friend of mine here. So I have Mr. Rudolph Speid as well. We normally host this show every Friday. You know each other, you know this man, Mr. Speid?
I know him from playing against him, but I didn't really meet him to talk to him to see how good a coach.
Yeah, I want him to know that Owen Speid is my very good friend, and he came to a match against Cavalier and Reno, and we drew. But that was the only time I wanted to have that result.
Yeah. No. I know of him, man. I know that him coach against me, but as I said, we never really talk about him.
Yeah, so Mr. Coach Drummond, we're just looking at the game. So we have covered 2 of the games. We're going to move to the 3rd game, and then I know you have some good questions that you want to ask Mr. Speid. So we're going to get into that. So let me just deal with this next game, and then we'll move on. There's the 3rd game of the weekend was the Dunbeholden versus Veer game. And this one we need to talk about a little bit. Dunbeholden defeated Veer, the first loss of the season. They went down by 2-1. And there was an article from Coach Duki in the newspapers about this particular game, and I have some thoughts on it. But Coach Drummond, you watch the game?
I watched a part of the game, but I actually read the article.
Okay.
And this has been the challenge that I've had at Reno. Teams that are not well off financially having to travel into Kingston to play games at the highest level. If you can afford it, then it works best. It can be magical. However, if you are unable to host your players and take them in overnight and let them get acclimatized, because the games are 8:30 and an 8:30 game is quite unaccustomed at this level. So what Coach Ducky was saying, I totally agree with him, because to have players, the pre-event meal has to be consumed 3.5 hours before the game, and to have them eating so early, and that would have not been among the norm for these players. And to have them participate at the highest level, very, very competitive. It will take a toll on players who are not accustomed to it. But the only challenge I'm having is that it's not just the Veer team that has to travel and play in the mornings. And Veer is coming from off the highway, which is about 45 minutes. When I was at Reno, we were traveling 3.5 hours 2 ways every Sunday or every other Sunday, and it takes a toll eventually on the players.
All right, Mr. Speid, what are your thoughts? You saw what Coach Duki said first? Do you agree with it? Well, you don't know. Let me ask you. Let me ask you an open-ended question. What are your thoughts on the game and the comments of the coach?
Well, I saw
Positive
the
comments.
I saw pieces of the game because we were playing afterwards, right? So I was watching parts of the game. You know, Veer got the advantage. They scored first, and Dunbolin got a red card within like 7 or 8 minutes, at the start of the game. So Veer had all the advantages. And then eventually, though, Veer went into a defensive posture, gave up the ball to Dunbolin, and Dunbolin used it very well and got 2 goals. You know, I must say what Mr. Drummond is saying, hold a little water about a little about
A
the
little.
money. About the money. Sometimes it's not the money. It's more organization you need than the money. So I just wanted to say where Veer is coming from and where Dunbolin coming from. Veer might take 20 minutes more than what Dunbolin might take to come to the
Oh
game.
yeah.
But there was 2 teams playing at 8:30. It wasn't one team. It was 2 teams. And there's a thing that you call organization, where we in Jamaica have to learn that if you get a fixture and you get it a week before, or even 5 days, 4 days, I think is enough time to plan. Is a case where you have to take out of your mind that people fighting against you for whatever reason, I don't know. Or even if them fighting against you, you use it as a motivation and say, you know what, okay, me playing in the morning, me make sure say everybody eat me make sure say me camp people, because they have, me camp the 2 or 3 players who need somewhere for stay. Maybe it's not the whole team, because a lot of people live in Clarendon, so maybe you need to put up 2 or 3 of them in a house because you prepare. And then okay, so you can't cook in the morning. What are your options? Oh, my options is to get banana, is to get maybe watermelon, is to get maybe a couple bun, make sure so me have some tea for them when they come on it. So I'm saying, look here, yeah, it's hard, nothing in life not easy, but you must plan and prepare for an eventuality. If it was my club and I had to play, because we had to play 11 o'clock afterwards, which is not so hard, but it's still hard too, because it's the hottest time of the day. So we plan. We say we'll do this, we'll go to this, we'll cook, we'll do this, we'll do this. We'll make sure so we have towel for cool on the players when they come to the changing room. I mean, to me, we have to get professional, man. As we're not going to get anywhere. Any adversity you face, plan it through, because you can deal with it. And the good thing about Veer is that them actually get the break first, then get a red card, then get the goal first. So you imagine if them just do a little bit more planning, make sure the players then eat something and get ready mentally for play. Then we'll have the game, I think.
All right. Very, very, very good. Very, very good. But all right. So here's my thing. So because I read the article, I went through it, I looked at everything, right? And I hear your Coach Speid and I hear your Coach Drummond, because I know the situation with Reno and how that. And when you have one team out west, you have to travel to King, and all the teams are in Kingston, for example. You have to travel more than the teams in Kingston, because they go from one place to another, right? So a Cavaliers play Arnett Garden is easier than Reno playing Cavaliers and playing Arnett Gardens, because it's two traveling to Kingston basically. All right. So what he was saying, and I mean, maybe it's complaint, but what he was saying is this. So his players, they had to get up from 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare for the game, because players are coming from different places. But you made a very valid point, Mr. Speid, that could it be a case where the players camp, not all of them, but some of them, and then from there, you go to the venue. That never happened. He also said, though, that they ate, but the food, then they weren't able to digest the food. And so because they weren't able to digest the food, some of the players vomited at halftime, which is an issue. I don't know. I'm just giving the reports, right? Don't know why that would have happened or what they would have consumed that would have caused them to vomit at halftime. All right. Right. I'm just going by what he said. So here's my thought, and then I'm going to let you respond, Mr. Speid. Where the football game was played is the Captain Horace Burrell Center. There are dormitories there. And I think either this is planning from the team perspective or from the organization of the league. Couldn't the players have camped at the venue and they find their own food and give a contribution towards the light and towards utilities instead of having to travel. Couldn't that have been put in place? I don't know if it is a team who needed to do that or the organizers, but I'd allow you to respond to that, and then Coach Drummond can probably respond. Oh, I think we lost Mr. Speid again. Coach Drummond, what are your thoughts on that?
All right, my thoughts, as I said earlier, is about preparation, and it's about the affordability of it. Because, I mean, I can tell you, it costs a pretty penny when you have to host 25 players and 8 officials overnight at any venue in Kingston, especially in Kingston. It might be cheaper out west. But as Mr. Speid said, it's about pre-match preparation. What I can tell you is that the pre-event meal didn't have to be anything significant. And a lot of persons have to understand that the time of the day that you eat certain food will affect your eventual outcome. And that's as simple as I can put it, because some food, the absorption rate of some food is higher than others. So it might not mean a rice and peas and chicken meal in the morning because players are not accustomed to that. So it might mean something light, something that will energize the player, replaces the red blood cell and let them be effective at that time of the day, and probably can give them something heavy after the game. So it's all about the dynamics and how you prepare for those games. And I just said, to each his own, and extraordinary times calls for extraordinary measures. So we are not operating in the ordinary times, and so we have to take the proactive approach and do what we think is best for the team. A lot of persons says Coach Ducky whines and inquires. He makes a point as it relates to his team. It's up to the next person whom it affects or doesn't affect to make or to counter that point. But what he say has merit. Even if it is 2 players that has to travel, it can affect the dynamic of a team sport. So it's just about the proactivity and the preparation, getting your team. But I mean, Veer, I'm rooting for Veer because I have roots in Clarendon. So I'm hoping that they can pull this one too.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Speid, are you back? Let me check out. Oh, I think we lost Mr. Speid again. But you know what is funny? The Dumbeholden team played from the 8th minute of the game with 10 men.
It's about game management, because I mean, if you have that extra player and have that goal, it's about how you're managing the player. I mean, I think they are afforded five substitutes. So it's about how you rotate your squad, how you keep your squad fresh. It's about how you manage the game, because if you have that numerical advantage for
From the
82
8th
minutes,
minute,
and you would have gotten the go-ahead goal. It's about games management. So you can't too complain about the organizers when your destiny lie within your hand and you never took it. So I mean, that's just the nature and how the cookie crumbles.
Mr. Speid, know that you're
Well,
go ahead.
right. I was saying that they couldn't get that place to camp because the government with the quarantine, you have to ask for like a year before or 2 years before, based on what is happening. But as I said before, in my mind, they probably needed to put up say about 6 players somewhere, because the rest would have come from Clarendon, or maybe even 8 players. And it's just planning, as I said before. You have to know the type of food, because nowadays people are realizing that food digests in 2.5 hours, not the 3.5 that we used to talk about 4 hours anymore. And also it depends on the type of food. You could have like melon half time to eat, ripe banana. Some tennis players now eat ripe banana during sets. So there's a whole heap of way you can, if you talk to the right persons, them can say, all right, take that guidance here and help with your preparation.
Yeah, but you know what is interesting, because you made a very valid point, and Coach Drummond said this, that I think it was this week that for the first time 20 players were allowed on the bench, right? The adjustment was 20 players. So now you have 2 additional personnel to put on your bench. So even if 2 players vomit because they get sick, you're playing against a team with 10 men. So is it just down to
games management?
Yeah, there you go. So I can understand why some of the persons would say, boy, it sound like complaining.
The 20 players actually give you more choice when it comes to having more defend. You can balance your reserves a lot better with the 20 players. You know, so you could almost have changes everywhere with 20 players. Guys, 9 players that you have on the bench. So you could have changes almost everywhere.
Go ahead, Coach Man. You were going to say something.
I was just going to touch upon that Coach Speid was making that in terms of your preparation, it's management is key. And I've had the discussions before with when I was at Reno. I've had the discussion with other coaches that, for example, if you might well have players who would have lived in Kingston who could have their bridging stay at their places, because players travel all over the world. So it doesn't mean that you have to camp the entire team in Kingston, but you could send up probably the starting team into Kingston, and then you take the substitute the following morning. You see, the dynamics are there, you know, when it comes on to this competition. So it's just about utilizing the dynamics. It doesn't mean that you must camp 25 players or 20 players. You could say the staff travel in the morning. The staff could travel in the morning and send the starting 11 the night before, so that them can get rest and prepare for the game. And then you could prepare meals for those persons. As I say, you don't have to go to the hard food, the rice and peas, the pasta, because at that early in the morning, when the absorption rate is low, you might not get the desired result from those food. So you have to think about alternate choices. It might be a chocolate bar, some energy bar. It might be, you know, something to stimulate the red blood cells and make the players a little bit more active and less lethargic when they are playing.
Yeah, man. Wonderful point. So this week we had 3 red cards. One was in this game. The next game was Tivoli Gardens versus Cavaliers. so let me listen. I was disappointed in the player, but I know the coach can speak about that because, you know, it is his player and you don't want to create any problems. But coach, Coach Speid, talk to me about what happened with what?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't have to call a player name, but I can tell you that is not anything that is tolerated at Cavalier, where player fight and butt down people. We don't have that, and that have no place in the league. It shouldn't happen, and the player know better that if him do it, well, I don't even know if him know no better, but all me can tell you that we'll be dealing with it with extreme prejudice, because we don't want our club to have that type of people think of us and think about that way, that we're going to fight players or butt down players or be aggressive. Cavalier style is to play attractive football. We come and we fight on the field, play attractive football. Sorry, not fight physically, but I mean try to win the game, play attractive football. We don't even want to win ugly. We want to win looking good in style. So no, the player they're in a serious trouble with us. No two way about it. Or any other player would do that same problem, same thing them got in.
And so isn't he one of your older players?
Yeah, he is. He's one of the oldest players. He's the oldest player on the team. So I expect leadership from him. Not like the youngsters who are 16. So when the 16-year-olds see him doing that, what do you think they're going to do? No, it can't work. I mean, and he was told, and you'll see further actions based on what happened. We don't care about the win. Discipline comes first.
And you also conceded very, very late in that game as well. You conceded in the 6 minutes of extra time. Very poor goal. In fact, you conceded when you were playing with 10 and playing against 10 men.
Well, we also scored when we were playing with 10 men. Yeah, right. Which is the dynamics. But you see, football is not as people think. You see, when we conceded that red card in the first half, it took a lot of energy out of us. Because remember, we didn't go to sleep, we attacked. So it took a lot of energy out of us going back and forward. We had to change our formation. And it took a lot of energy to be same way enterprising, So having played for more than a half, it was the extra time. Even although they came down to 10 minutes, about 10 minutes to go, it's a lot of energy already extended to get that lead, because we still went for the win. We didn't sit back and say we're going to take a draw. We still went for the win, and we got the goal. And it was a lapse in concentration. I mean, again, it's because the player is young, because that player was playing right back. If you look at the game, he was attacking up the field, but he was on the far side away from me, so I couldn't get a shot. He was in every attack.
Okay, look like we lost Mr. Speid again. Coach Drummond, I am the one. Coach Bernard, welcome. We have also Coach Ludlow Bernard. All right. Yeah, man. So we lost Mr. Speid again. Let me add. Coach Bernard.
Yes, sir.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, after all of those things. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Coach Drummond. I'm not seeing you, but Coach Bernard, we're talking about your game because we're going through it by other. I know you came in afterwards, but we're talking about the whole time in terms of the rule says five minutes of additional time minimum, which means it could be extended. I think we had that discussion, and some persons were saying it was more, it had more to do with the game management per se. Welcome, Mr. Speid. Coach Bernard is here. He has joined us finally. Everything is working out. So,
Coach Bernard, how are you?
Not too bad, brother Speid. There, man.
I just tell everybody that, when Cavalier was like in Sid Barrett and trying to come back up, and I tell people all the while and then laugh. The team that I tried to emulate was Harborview. We tried to be just like Harborview. So Coach Bernard is one of my inspiration, even although I'm my biggest rival.
Friendly rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah, well, wonderful. All right, so Coach Bernard, so right, let me just let you chime in. What were your thoughts on the amount of time added for your game?
Yeah, well, based on the prior discussions that we had, all right, let me just go through a series of events. Between minute 39 and minute 45, I would hasten to say that there were numerous stoppages, right? And of course, it probably would have warranted much more than 5 minutes of time added. However, the referee and his crew proceeded to indicate 5 minutes of time added. Okay, well, a minimum of that is. I would also go on to further say that during the additional 5 minutes now, there was probably only just about one stoppage. My argument is simply this: if between minute 39 and 45, you deem that there was sufficient time being wasted and hence reasons to have more time, then advise everybody that it will be 8 minutes or 7 minutes of time added. It changes the whole complexion of both teams in terms of how they would approach that period, right? But of course, after 5 minutes, everybody's there eagerly anticipating the whistle. 6 minutes, you're still anticipating the whistle, and it is not forthcoming. So that probably changes the dynamics of the game as at that time, because my team would be probably in a mode that isn't conducive to properly managing the game as at that time. And similarly, Portmore would be just throwing the kitchen sink at us as well. I would say that if it were to be 7 minutes of time added, indicate 7 minutes of time added or 8 minutes of time added as at the 45th minute, right? If our players knew that, if our coaching staff knew that, the game probably would have been dealt with. Not probably, it would have been dealt with and handled differently, right? But you have a bunch of youngsters who, they're on the pitch, keep asking, coach, how much time? 5 minutes, sorry, yeah, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, and the game is not complete, and then you see another one adding and going into another one, that begs for some amount of confusion there. And unfortunately, some of the inexperience in my team, probably some of it showed us at that time, and we didn't handle the situation very well as at that time, right? As I said previously as well, that I had a conversation with one of the assistants, and he was in agreement with me. If it should have been 8 minutes, and it should have been announced and indicated that it was 8 minutes, right? I don't think we would have had a problem then, because I think the events that took place probably justify the 7 or the 8 minutes. but you come and you advertise 5 minutes, and during the 5 minutes of time added, no, probably only a singular event takes place. So it's as if you're making up for the time that you should have indicated from first, and I think that is probably, poor management on the part of the official as at that time, of the time.
Okay, fair. I say you're not in the head, Mr. Speed. Fair assessment. You mute. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, and that is why I said before, different referee does different things. But let me explain again. They are assessed, and I think if you put up 10 minutes because 10 minutes is wasted, the referee probably thinks, hey, they'll be assessed. You never control the game. That's why you have to put up so much extra, additional time because you wasn't in control of the game. So they put up the 5 and then play 7. But I think they shouldn't be assessed on that. If events make it the 8 minutes, just put up the 8 minutes and done, and not try to play the 8 minutes because you think it is fair. Because then it calls a lot of things into question. So that is why I said before. But even us teams, it depends on which side of the coin we are on. And some referees just play the 5 minutes, and the ones that are confident just play the time with them know the ones that are confident they do.
Yeah.
But, so that's what.
Anything you want to add, Coach Bernard?
No, well, I'm agreeing with Roddy there. It should have indicated the time. I would not have had a problem if 7-8 minutes were indicated, right? But announce it, because as I said before, as coaches, you're going to manage the game according to what is and of course when you really see that during the time added and there isn't any real stoppage as such, and then you see more time being added, it begs the question, what really is happening here, and you really don't know now what time this game is gonna end, and quite coincidentally, as the Portmore team scored, the game is up.
So yes. All right. Somebody's asking a question. They said that, Mr. Bernard, if faced with a situation like that again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, well, as I said before,
you can't determine how much time the referee is going to play.
No, I cannot determine it. If the referee is not in control of the situation, and I guess the next time around, from our end on the bench, we would have to probably try and apply certain tactics, that would see out all of the time, I usually have a player on my bench for incidents and circumstances like these, right? And unfortunately, he was not available for that game, so I know I really did lose out with his participation in this game, and I brought on 2 youngsters, in the capacity of probably one person to really try and see if they could see out the game, but it did not happen as at the time. And as I said before, probably some amount of inexperience on the part of some of the players, as well as probably we on the bench probably could get a tiny bit excited about the prospect of defeating the
league leaders.
Yes, but still
beating Ricardo got a power half of you, man. Maybe that little bit of excitement.
Yes, it's not so much Ricardo, man. It's more the league leader, irrespective of who they be. Yeah, that would have been it. But we are willing to rebound from all of that and looking to move forward into games, into upcoming games.
Yeah, I did mention to them, we don't want to go back over everything, but I did mention to them that you actually played a reserve goalkeeper, because in your post-match interview, you made mention of, you implied that there is a situation with your regular goalkeeper, Chambers. And I would say that the goalkeeper was the cause of, I don't want to beat him too hard because I realize that he's inexperienced, but he was making his ball handling wasn't good throughout the game, and it But
Yeah.
how do you deal with that now? Because you gave up 2 points because you sat out a player.
Well, I think the message that was being sent when this player was being when this player was unseated is probably in the long run it probably could be a lot more important than not gaining the 3 points in full, because at the end of the day you want to maintain a certain level of discipline within your squad. And clearly the player in question was quite culpable, and he committed something for which he has admitted responsibility for, and he knew that he would have affected the chances of the team. We all knew that going into the game with this with the reserve goalkeeper, we knew exactly what to expect, and it probably allow the team to be a little bit more cautious and not really taking any chances in some of the stuff that we do. Although there was an instance in which young Harding tried something which probably had Chambers been on the pitch, it would have been clear cut as to what would have happened. But we think we tried the best to compensate his presence on the pitch, and it almost worked. But although we didn't get 3 points, I think the message was clearly sent, and it reflected in this week's training session. So we're hoping that going forward we'll be back to normalcy.
Okay. Well, this person is saying that Brian is saying that the keeper is not inexperienced because he has been at Harborview for 2 to 3 seasons. But that don't mean that he's experienced, because maybe he has not kept he has kept 1 game per season, possibly.
Yeah.
know.
Yes, he is inexperienced because he doesn't really have the wealth of games under his belt.
Okay, go ahead, Coach Drummond.
I just add though that if we want to get this Premier League to where we want it to be, if we want to stamp out any act of indiscipline from the Premier League, probably this is the year that we have to do it, because nobody will be demoted, and so you have a little bit more freedom of expression to take action and to allow players to take responsibility for whatever indiscipline that they might have incurred. So if you have to take action, I think this is the year to take them, because I'm sure under normal circumstances, with teams being relegated and promoted and the championships being on offer, I'm sure that Coach Bernard might have rethought about having Chambers being sidelined for such an important game, top of the against the league leader.
Yeah, but that's a very good point. It's a good season to kind of enforce discipline in your team, because if you drop the player because of disciplinary reasons, really it's not going to affect you in terms of demotion. So why not make the steps now and kind of change? Because some of these players, indeed, there are disciplinary issues. Like same thing with Mr. Speid player who retaliated. I mean, he could get outside of what? I mean, the 1-match suspension. You could give him a further 3-game suspension just to say this is not the kind of thing. I'm not saying that you should do that, Mr. Speid. I'm just suggesting that this is the season to do that. So a player realizes that, listen, this kind of behavior is not accepted, whatever it is. So that's a very good point, Coach Drummond. Yeah, but the final game was the Mullines game versus Arnett Garden game. That game ended a goal apiece, a own goal by Mullines, and then Nicholas Nelson scored again this season. I mean, he just keeps on popping up scoring goals for his club. He's the captain of the team right now. What are your thoughts on that game? It was a Monday game.
Well, yeah, these are the games that every team fear. You score 2 goals and you get a draw, because they did score on themselves, and then they score they score a legitimate goal against the opposition. But this was always a game that both teams needed to get something out of, because they were close to the bottom. I thought if Arnett had won, they would have come up with tables nicely, could have dropped themselves in 7th position. But Mullines again, with their new coach, I think they are trying to rebuild. So if you notice, the team getting younger and younger. So I think Mullines has accepted that they're rebuilding. Arnett Garden has said that they're rebuilding too. So it was just one of those games that both was hoping for a positive result. But in the end, maybe that's where they are as a team and as an organization. they're trying to get as much as they can while rebuilding. So that was more important for them than trying to win us.
I'm learning that centre backs are so important. I'm going to let both of you comment on the game because Arnett Garden lost one of your centre backs in that game to injury. I think he was a better one, forgot his name, but once he came off the field, like the whole defensive setup and how they played, they actually moved their left back to come and play centre back, and they brought, so the one person coming out they made 3 changes on the field for one person going out. Right, so the left back went in and played centre back. The person who came in went and played left back. The person who was playing as one of the holding midfield, he came out, left that person. So they made, which like, I mean, I know it's an injury, but how good is that for you to have one person injured and make 4 positional changes on the field because of one player? And could that have affected how they played? Coach Bernard, and then I'll hear from Coach Drummond.
Yeah, well, I wasn't privy to the game itself, but I can just imagine the dilemma that Coach Thomas would have been faced with, right? And which is one of the reasons why I was very happy that the squad content was increased from 18 to 20. All right, we had a similar situation in that game against Portmore, in which our right wing back sustained injury towards the latter part of the game. Now, on the pitch, there were numerous options that I could have called upon to help to fix that situation. I could have taken out the centre back and put him out there, but that would have meant 2 changes because I now have to replace the centre back, and I would also have to replace a defensive midfield player. So what I was allowed to do, fortunately, was to just make a straight swap. One right back for another right back. In these, and again, the strength and the length of the squad content allows you to do these things, but I really don't know the makeup of Coach Thomas's squad, but it would have been good. It is always good that whenever you're making up your squad, as Coach Speid says, that you need to have a nice balance of players. I always have a little formula in terms of how I select my squad. In an 18-man squad, I would have 6 and 6. That's 6 defenders, 6 midfielders, and 4 forwards, and the 2 goalkeepers. In the 20-man squad, I think that now becomes 7 and 7, and probably 4, and then 2. So it makes sense that you look at your squad content and you try and ensure that you don't have to make some of these changes, because you may think that you're removing you're removing somebody from another position to go into another position, but in fact you're making two changes. And they always say that it is very unwise to be altering and tinkering with your back line with so many changes in the event of some amount of necessity.
Coach Drummond, what are your thoughts? I don't know if you saw the game. Coach Anthony Patrick finally making his stamp. You can see the Coach Anthony Patrick's play. Yeah. Oh, you didn't see the game?
I saw the game on Monday. I haven't seen any of the Monday games. Monday was a holiday, and the euphoria that surrounds the Jamaican Olympic team. So, unfortunately, I had other engagement. But just to say that I share the sentiment. As a coach, you have to look at dynamics. If it's not broken, then why switch the player? So you in selecting your squad, I and Alex and I were very close at GT first. He came here as a youngster, and very, very astute coach to and pays attention to details. So what I would want to find out is what would have led to him making those adjustments, because certainly you must have a centre back, and whatever the quality that he possesses at the highest level, then you must trust him. Once he's in the squad, he must be trusted with the responsibility to cover whomever it is that he's shadowing. And so to take a left back, put him in centre back, that is too many changes at the back of the team. And you see, if you make so many changes at the back of the team, it's going to disrupt the harmony and the chemistry. And the player who was playing left back is in a different frame of mind playing outside rather than to come inside. And so those are the dynamics as coaches we don't want to make, and I try to keep away from. And so I normally have like for like, especially in my defense, I have like for like substitution. So if you're good enough, you play. If you're not good enough, you don't play. And that's where I leave it.
And the second issue with Arnett is that they lost their leader. Amal Knight broke his finger.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper, as soon as that goalkeeper, this must be so hard because the goalkeeper comes on and he parries the ball right into the center forward's pass. That's how the equalizer came. Young goalkeeper, and I guess this is part of the process of rebuilding, and this is what happened. They didn't have a competent replacement, I believe, for Amal Knight. So wish him all the best because I know, like I said, that the finger was broken before and it is broken again. So wish him all the best, speedy recovery. All right, but we have Mr. Bernard just stay with us. We have Melvin Doxilly. You know that name? Melvin Doxilly.
Not sure.
Yeah, Melvin Doxilly is the St. Lucian who.
For Cavaliers.
For Cavaliers. That
No, it's
everybody.
Doxilly.
Doxilly. All the Jamaican people asking when they saw him first. Hey, how this man in Jamaica and we don't know him? You know, I mean, how Tapper don't call him yet? Only to find out that he's a he's a St. Lucian national. Mr. Doxilly, welcome to I Am Sure Sports. How you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing okay.
All right. How is it? How has Jamaica been for you?
Jamaica has been pretty good for me. I'm really enjoying the country. I'm really enjoying the football for now. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask you much about your club because the coach is here. You understand? When I don't want him to bench you for the next game. But there are 3 St. Lucians in the league. I mean, you have you, and then you have McFarlane who plays out in Portmore, and what's the next? The defender he Myers, right? He also plays for Portmore. I mean, what are your thoughts of the league so far? It's a truncated season. What are your thoughts compared? Because I know you also played in Trinidad and Tobago before. Right. And you played in Guyana as well?
No, only in Trinidad and Tobago.
Only in Trinidad. What are your thoughts on the league and how do you compare it to playing in St. Lucia and in Guyana?
In Trinidad.
In Trinidad.
Well, the league is a good league. I'm really enjoying my football here. It's very intensive. I really like how the league continues to show the players that everything they does, they really come with a question again, please.
No, man. Just tell what is. How do you compare the league to, playing in Trinidad? What are some of the differences? Let me make it easier for you. What are some of the differences with the league here in Jamaica than when you played in Trinidad or when you played in St. Lucia?
Well, what I find different in the league is that it's very professional and that everything they does is very professional and it's nothing new to me. Yeah, it's nothing new to me.
Okay. And what do you like? What do you like most about the league?
What I like most about the league is that the excitement,
All right, let me ask you a different question. What has the experience been like in terms of your coaching? What are some of the things you have been learning? You have been, I think the Guyana national coach was a former Guyana national coach or a Guyanese coached you in Trinidad. Now we are learning from Rudolph Speid. Are you learning anything, or these are all things that you knew before?
No, I've learned a lot from Coach Speid. Well, the new formation, I try to adapt to the 3 at the back. He's a very good coach. He makes me understand like the game easier when it comes to the 3 in the back, and I'm trying to adapt well. Yeah.
is there any player that you have played against so far that you're very impressed with?
Say that again?
Any player? Have you played against any player so far that you're very impressed with?
Yeah.
Or is there a player at your club that you're very impressed with? Like you look at him and you say, man, this young guy is very good and he's going to go far.
Yeah, I will mention there's a lot. There's a lot in the team. All the youngsters can play, but for me, I would say like I really like to see BC Atkinson play. He's very good. He's talented, very good.
Okay. So you play regularly for the St. Lucia national team?
Yeah, from the first time I started playing was in 2019, and from then I've been always working hard, training, and always in the first team.
What position? What position you play in the national team there?
Well, I play centre back at times. Sometimes I play defensive mid, but mostly centre back.
Okay. Coach Bernard, do you have any questions for Doxilly?
No, not really, but more than just to just commend him for making himself able to add a little bit more color to the competition. You know, I also recognize the other players from Portmore as well, who are really very good players technically. And you know, this is something that we should be looking forward to, the internationalization of our league. You know, I'm looking forward to the day when probably resources are so much available that we can afford to bring in some of our fellow Caribbean nationals to participate and grow our league. So I must take the time out to commend Mr. Doxilly and his fellow compatriots for making themselves available. And probably hopefully one day we'll see a St. Lucian playing out for the Stars of the East.
We're going to ask you that. Mr. Coach Drummond, any question you have or anything you want to say to
not any question, but just to say that when I played the Premier League way back in the years, you know, I enjoyed playing against the overseas players. There was one, Gene Harbour, who played at Violet because very, very dynamic. He teaches a lot of the professionalism about the game. Played against persons like Ukichuku Chimieri when he was at Waterhouse. So you know, it adds a little bit of flavor to it. But I most enjoyed playing against Anthony Modest. You know, we had a fight at one time when he was at Portmore. And funny enough, years after that, when I did my advanced level 2, Modest and I became roommates. And he back to say, hey, you fought me. You know what I mean? I like to have these persons from the Caribbean because they add flavor. And certainly if we're developing the sport and we're developing the region, then certainly we want to export players to different parts of the Caribbean. And we want to take players from different parts of the Caribbean as well, having them here. So it's a pleasure having Mr. Melvin. Haven't seen him yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing him representing Cavaliers. And I mean, you know, he finds himself at a club that looks towards youth. And you know, I mean, both coaches, Harborview and Cavalier, structure their thing around youth development. And so he couldn't find himself at a better place at this time.
Yeah, wonderful. Melvin, so are you telling other St. Lucians to come and play in Jamaica because the league is good, the pay is good? Are you learning the game and the opportunities are opening up for you to get country? Are you telling other St. Lucians?
Yes, I am. They have been contacting me and asking me, like, you know, to speak to coaches for them. They want to come up in the league because St. Lucia got talent. St. Lucia has a lot of talent. But, you know, maybe in the future, you will get maybe about 5 Lucians playing in Jamaica in the Premier League.
All right. Now that you say that, now you can expect your phone to be busy. Maybe you have to be a player and an agent at the same time. You know, and to make the contacts for them. But all the best. Who you playing this weekend?
Waterhouse.
You're playing against Waterhouse. Are you looking forward to that game?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. 3 points.
3 points.
Yeah.
What do you know about the Waterhouse team?
I don't really know much about them, but from what I saw, like, there's a very good team. They got some big players, some good quality players, technical players, and yeah, they are fast players. So we just have to come out there and do our best, and just just come out, try to come out with the win.
Yeah. All right. Outside of your club, right? Which one of the clubs? I mean, you like how they play outside of your club from what you have seen so far?
I would say Portmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have two St. Lucians over there, or they just playing?
No.
All right. So, want to thank you for your time. I know you have a game on Monday. Get some rest, Melvin. Hold on. How old are you?
I'm 23 years old. I'm 23 years of age. Sorry.
23. And how many international caps you have for St. Lucia?
I think it's 18 or 19. Yeah.
Okay. What age you started playing for them? At what age you started the international career?
Age 19.
19. You're playing for the senior team.
Yeah.
Like starting.
Yeah.
Wow, excellent. Would love to see some more of that. At starting a 19-year-old centre back playing for Jamaica at national team. I hope we get to see that one day. I hope we get to see. But thank you so much for your time. Please tell all the people in St. Lucia that when they want to hear, they can come. And I am sure sports, and you always have a platform here when you want to come and share what is happening with your career. But thank you so much. Tell Mr. McFarlane and Mayors, that we really appreciate them coming, playing in the league and making the league better. It looks better. And we know you will learn and you will grow. And the club that you're at, you could be in Europe playing as well, sometime soon. And so all the best for the rest of the season. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Thank you.
You want to say anything to your people in St. Lucia who they may not be watching live, but they may watch the video afterwards? Anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, I just want to tell my friends and my family that I love them and continue to support me in everything I do.
All right. Thank you so much, Melvin. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. All right, wonderful. All right, that was Melvin Doxilly from Cavaliers. Yeah. Coach Rudolph Speid. Coach Speid, how did you make contacts in these? How did that happen? Coach Speid, look like Coach Speid is frozen again. Yeah. All right, but this weekend, let's look at the fixtures. Well, let's give it a point standing for this week. The point standing for this week, Portmore still lead. They have 13 points. Vere, they're in second place on 11 points. Harborview, third place, 9 points. Dumbleholden also on 9 points. Cavaliers on 18th, 5th. Mount Pleasant on 18th, 5th. Both of those teams only play 5 games. Tivoli and Waterhouse both have 6 points. They both play 5 games. Arnett and Mullines are the next two. Arnett in 9 and 4 points. Mullines in 10th and 3 points. And Humble Iron from 6 games. They have 3 points. Thank God there is no relegation, because they would be whooshing out a year. That is Humble Iron. So they must be happy that there is no relegation. Yeah, but we have some very interesting fixtures coming up this week, and we're going to look at these fixtures. Mr. Bernard, who do you play this week? And let's start with Harborview first.
Yeah, well, Harborview plays against Tivoli Gardens. I think this game plays tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Captain Burrell Center.
I'm beginning to wonder what is going on with the other venues, because I know that most of the games now seem to be playing.
It seemed to me, Mr. Stenny, that there seems to be a cost factor involved. You know? Yes, and as a result, there's a reluctance to really experience other venues. And only yesterday I was relating to my general manager, Mr. Gerardini, about some of the side effects of the constant playing
and the artificial turf.
On the AstroTurf. Yes, I'm beginning to feel some of it are beginning now to express itself in various forms. And I think probably now, it's gonna call for some amount of rotation with even some of the players that I have. right? But had they been playing on the regular surfaces, I don't think I would be having some of these issues that I'm having right now. On the whole matter of the venue, at one stage, my thoughts was that I would probably try and identify, some very good venues to play. Clearly, the National Stadium, the Stadium East, and the Captain Burrell Center. But if we're talking about probably exposing the competition, I don't think it would have hurt, had we played a couple of the games at the Catrinal complex. It seems far-fetched, but I think probably that venue should have been added as well. But then again, I guess they will say, boy, it is a matter of cost. I don't think it should be inconvenience. I think we should be paid. We should be really paying to really expose the product a little bit more in a different setting, in a different environment, you know. So I would certainly want them to consider if this is gonna be the format like come next season. I would want it to be considered. Better yet, even if crowds will be allowed to the games, whether they are vaccinated persons or not, I would want the games to be extended into other parts of the country so that other persons can get a chance to view. And for the players themselves to get in the habit of moving around, traveling to play some of these games. But insofar as the Captain Burrell Center is concerned, I think, and I don't know what Coach Speid has to say on this, but clearly there seems to be quite a number of injuries being incurred as a result of the type of surface that these players are being asked to play upon week in, week out.
Okay, very, very, very solid points. Mr. Speid, what are your thoughts on that? And what is the organizing committee in terms of all the games now being played on this surface? And I don't think it's a healthy thing for the players. I mean, and especially because the games are coming so quick and fast. Why aren't the other venues being maximized that were suggested? And like Mr. Bernard just said, is there consideration to extending it to a Catherine Hall? Engaging the JUTC as an example to do the transportation for the teams to go down there and play the games down there over a weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, at this particular point, it will just be a economic nightmare because you'd have to move all the all
Video.
those.
I say in the future, Roddy. I say in the future.
Yeah, right. In the future, everything is under consideration, especially if a couple more teams added to the Premier League. But for right now, we're really just trying to get through this season, and where we are at, it's much easier to play there than anywhere else. We have a lot of costs in terms of like the billboards, etc. You don't have to move them up and down, which is a cost, and monitoring the sponsors essentially. But because that television product, we don't think we want to move it around too much. Of course, we did have permission to play in other stadia, but they were a little bit more expensive. So all of those things, plus the COVID cost is really high. The testing, one testing per week costs roughly about 5 million, over 5 million, and we have to test everybody. So, with all of those costs, we're trying to keep it down as much as possible. But, I mean, as soon as more people get vaccinated and we can start to get spectators, I can see us moving around because some of those costs will be taken care of by the GSUC. So it's really something good that we want to do. But I think, the pandemic controls so much of our destiny at this time is that we have to just work with it.
Okay. So you're saying that the costs associated with playing more games like at Stadium East, because games one round of the game was played at Stadium East. In fact, one of my thoughts was that why one of the week we couldn't play the game at the National Stadium just to test the stadium out before the World Cup qualifiers, because we haven't had any football in the stadium for quite a while. Wouldn't it be a good thing to play one round of the game at the National Stadium before the Panama game to kind of see, just to test the machinery there, how players are going to be tested, how you understand me, how officials are going to operate, how the place is going to be cleaned up afterwards. I think that wouldn't be a bad thing if we played one round there. Just take the players off the surface, because I do believe that it is a factor in terms of the amount of injuries that we've seen. It may not be a major factor, but with the kind of preparation or the under preparation and the surface, you could see. Coach Drummond, what are your thoughts on that?
The physiological aspect of training is going to be critical. When you look at what is happening, I can recall some years ago we played a World Cup qualifier in Guatemala, I think it is, and Rudolph Speid, who was our captain at the time, couldn't participate
It was Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, and he was having issues because he had discipline on the artificial turf. I have played at the Captain Burrell Center of Excellence, and I tell you, it's in my retirement. I've played there a couple of years ago, and the surface is extremely hard. And with the frequency of the games, week in, week out, and with the short preparation period that the players would have had, I think it's harder than injurious for some players. So we have to be very, very critical if they're not playing in the correct boots, the correct cleats, and so forth, because it can lead to injury to the players. So we have to, what I would want to see, and I was hoping that they would have alternated the venue, and not withstanding the cost, because we still faced with the opportunity. We're still faced with the fact that maybe we have we may lose critical players playing on this surface, and that's my only concern. But I think the product is good from where I sat and from where I'm watching. I think the product is good for the short space of time that it's been on the card. But I just say we need to look at the venues that we are seriously going to consider going forward. It's a World Cup year, and World Cup preparation is critical. And I think when you are making, well, let us not say, because we're not seeing many of the local players transition into the national team, because I was about to make the point that the transition from the artificial surface to the grass, it can cause even further injury to players because of the transition from one surface to another. So for me, it's neither here nor there, but I'm more concerned about the human capital and how it affects the players on the day.
I think someone is saying, is it the surface or the preparation? I think it is both. I think the recovery time after a game is not long. And so when you go back on the surface, it could have the effects. And the truth is, we all understand that the preparation coming into the season wasn't the best of almost all the clubs. So it is, I think, a combination of both may lead to some injuries. But yeah. Anything you want to add, Mr. Speid? Coach Speid,
freeze.
You freeze again, yeah. But I think this game. Listen, the one thing I'll say, because I normally give some sort of prediction. I don't ask the coaches to do that. You understand me? But I think Harborview is going to rebound from this, and this is going to be a 2-1 game. But it's going to be a late goal because Tivoli, when it comes down to Tivoli is one of those teams that they never lose a game until the final whistle has been blown. That's how they are. Historically, the game is done for Tivoli when the referee blows the whistle. Until then, they always seem to have a chance to get something out of the game. But based on form, I'm going with Harborview for this game. Coach Drummond, you were going to say something.
I was about to say that in a shortened version of the competition, and I don't like to make predictions, but I'm going to tell you that the teams that are better in terms of the recovery, the team that recovers better stands the highest chance of winning, and not necessarily the most experienced. And so teams that are heavily youth lined will have a better chance of winning this competition because the recovery is better for the younger players. And I mean, when you have an old player who injured himself, it takes a longer while for the recovery. So if you look at the team that has the average age of 20, 21, 22, those teams will stand a better chance of lasting over the 14, 15 weeks. And in terms of how you recover your player, that is going to be critical to who takes this championship this year. And so when I look at the competition and look at the matches, I don't really look at just the head-to-head. I look at a more longer, more sustained season. And I'm saying at the end of the day, we should have teams like a Cavalier, a Harborview, Mount Pleasant if they rejuvenate the squad and they are able to recover, and probably a Portmore in the top 4. As I said, the youth will prevail in the shortened version. Experience will dominate if it's long and it is drawn out. But when it comes to the 12-week, 14-week, the youthful teams will stand the test of time.
Very, very solid point. Very solid point. Mr. Speed, I don't know what is going on with the internet over there now. But
Terrible.
yeah. You need to check the sponsors. Anyways, Humble Lion versus Mullines. Mr. Price got his first victory. Can he get his second victory, or will Mullines pick up 3 points, or is this a drawn game? I am going for the draw. I think since the first round, every single game has had a goal, you know. Since every single game has had at least one goal since the first round. All right. So I am predicting that I liked how Andre Clennon and Andrew Van Zyl looked. I think Taylor in goal has made a huge difference. It's amazing that he made one major save, but he was so important to how Humble Lion defended that. There is good. Yeah, but so I think that game is going to end in a tie. What are your thoughts about that matchup? Mullines versus
Actually, I think it can go either way, because if Humble Lions believe that they are going to come back to make it to the last 6, every match is a final for them, and I think that is how they're going to play it. Every single match is going to be a final for Humble Lions. I think that's exactly how they're going to play. They seems to keep strengthening their team as we go along. A lot of the players who look out of shape not playing anymore. They get quality players like, the goalkeeper is back and he's real quality. Marshall's the defense from the back. Then they have Van Zyl and they have Clennon. So what they have done is actually put people in the right position in the middle of the park that can do things. And me, that there's another player that might had, which will give them some impetus. So I think they could win the game. This one can go either way. I'm not going to predict that it's going to be a draw. I think it can go either way. But with Mullines, the captain Nelson, he's one of the better strikers in the league, and he can pop up and score at any time. So it's going to be very interesting. Youthfulness against that whole team that does the bomb. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting on the fence.
All right. Coach Drummond, why don't you take the Portmore versus Mount Pleasant? I think it's going to be what they call a mouth-watering contest with Ricardo Morris playing some good football, captaining that side, Kemar Foster keeping well. I think Mount Pleasant now have Kevin, the Guyanese centre-back, now ready to play, and they have Akil Clark, who in the last game kept a clean sheet for them, so he's also there. New coach making some changes. He brought in a centre-back from their academy to play alongside Ladell Ritchie. Seemed to have dropped out some of the players who were being used under coach Paul Teagat Davis. So
it's a team that is undergoing a transition. And if I should go with either team, I still would bank on Portmore, because there's some amount of consistency in the way in which Portmore is playing. I think the team that makes the least mistake, that is the team that will take this one, because it's not going to be a game that has many chances. I mean, both teams would want to possess the ball and try to breathe on each other. But of critical concern is whether or not the top players turn up to play on the day. And from what I've read, this Mount Pleasant team is a bit shaky, because the coach is just feeling a way around the squad and trying to fit pieces into his puzzle, and it has not yet gelled as a team. And so I would lean more towards Portmore. I'm still thinking that Mount Pleasant has quality, but I still think Portmore has enough to take this one.
All right. Any you want to add anything, or let us just move to the next one?
No, I agree, Mr. Drummond, that Portmore is a settled team. They know what they want to do. They change their formation and still getting results. I know what moving from 3 back to 4. Very balanced team. Not so young, but young enough. It's still one of the younger team, not so young. What they have is a lot of players who have a lot of experience, although they are might be
They had to make a substitution in the back line. The St. Lucian actually came off injured. It appears that he's going to be out for a while. And they brought in Emilio Rousseau to play centre back with Solomon, and they brought on this youngster from formerly of Clarendon College, Omar Reed, to play left back. Right, because that's what happened in the didn't think he did well. I think he's too offensive minded. He doesn't focus on the defensive part of his game, and it looked like he has struggled. So I'm not sure how they're going to manage, because that Myers guy was a very instrumental part of how they play in the back, playing alongside Damani. I think his name is Solomon.
Solomon has been around for a while, and I mean, what he has done is that, and you must recall that over the last 3-4 seasons, Rousseau has played a number of games with Damani Solomon when he came back. So it is about just reigniting that partnership. Reed, very, very raw, but seems to understand the system, and they are moving from a 3 to a 4. So I think that he has a little bit more impetus going forward, and the way in which Portmore play and possess the ball, if he can get into that attacking third, I mean, they can pose problems for Mount Pleasant. As I told you, Mount Pleasant at the back, with Richie and company, they are on the top of the hill, and so it's youth, and I'm always thinking that the younger team will last longer in the competition of this stage.
Yeah, Coach Bernard, Waterhouse versus Cavaliers.
Ah, boy. Okay. I probably would want to think that Coach Fuzzy may think that his team is underperforming somewhat, and I can see the frustration in him. He has a nice bunch of players, but there's just seems to be something that seems to be missing from the team, just that extra effort, that cutting edge that is required, because I don't think they're playing all that badly, right? As I said, they have some very good players and players that can make a difference, but it is not being executed on the pitch, and I think Coach Fuzzy is in a position now where he's trying to really put the right pieces together and try to build some kind of a momentum. While he's on that trajectory, Cavaliers in the meantime seemed a little bit more settled and have players that can really do damage on their team, right? This game is going to be a very interesting one, and I think the first team that scores in this game is likely to go on and win. And I say that to say because I think both teams' defenses are very strong and very sturdy and very reliable. And I think that any one of the teams that should get the go-ahead goal, especially in the second stanza of the game, I think should go on and win. But I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. What I'm seeing now, Portmore, Mount Pleasant, Cavalier, Waterhouse, some of the top teams are now playing against.
Harbour View?
No. Listen to the comment what I've said. So the top teams are now playing against each other. So it leads to something that it's really going to be very interesting to see how all of this pans out at the end of probably the next 2 rounds. Which is one of the reasons why Harbour View was to take some advantage of the position that they are in and see exactly where it would take them. The Mount Pleasant Portmore game is another interesting one. I take the point that both coaches made that the Mount Pleasant team seems to be still trying to put themselves together, put the pieces together, whereas the Portmore team is very settled and is a very dominant and confident team. And I wouldn't want to stick out my neck for anything, because the Mount Pleasant team do have quality players that can make a difference, on any given day. I think that if they come to the party on the day and they get it right, yeah, they are capable of defeating anybody in the league.
Yeah, I think Waterhouse missed Thomas. I think he wasn't there for the last game. I think they really missed him. And the centre back that plays alongside Finlayson never played a good
Yes,
game. Dewar is his name. I think he
Chandra.
struggled.
Chandiwar.
Yeah, he
Chandra.
struggled. You're right. He struggled a whole lot in the last game. He gave away the ball too much. And I don't know if that is because they are missing their number one goalkeeper to injury. And
Hakeem Chambers.
he sometimes would be able to play the ball around the back and all of that. And so sometimes it's funny how one thing can affect the dynamics of
Oh, yes.
plays. Yeah. And yeah, the thing is that they possess the ball well, but I don't find that they create enough goal scoring opportunities in their
That's
game.
it. That's it.
Yeah, I think they need to work out how do they transition this possessing the football into goal scoring opportunities. Like they have to score a very good goal to score because they are not creating enough, and that is one of the issues. I think the Cavaliers create more opportunities than them.
I was
Yeah.
about to make the point. I was about to make the point that if we are going to look at that game, I would actually look at Cavalier because of the chance creation ratio. Because Cavalier create an average of 4 or 5 chances. I don't think Waterhouse creates so much chance per game, and so unless Waterhouse takes that lead and the defense total, it's going to be difficult to see how they are going to prevent Cavalier from scoring. So it's just a matter of whether or not Cavalier will take their chances. The pace of Cavalier up front through Busy Atkinson, Webster and company is definite. And persons like Sean Dewar and Nicola and Finlayson way past the hill when it comes down to the traditional game. And so I'm not going to sit on defense. I'm going to say Cavalier for the kill and let Cavalier gives it away.
Yeah. Coach Speed is here. Are you still frozen? Like maybe because we're talking about Cavaliers, but I think they were missing one of their players, English, who was red carded in the last game. I don't know, and I think it would be good to have Coach Speed.
He has replacements.
He has replaced.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But the final game is Xavier versus Arnett Gardens, and I think this is where things are going to get very sticky for Veer. I think Veer is suffering from injuries. I
What
don't.
time is that game and where? And what time and what day?
It is 3:30 game on the 9th, so that is the last game.
Sunday.
Oh, it is a Sunday. It is the second game.
Sunday.
I know.
Sunday.
Yeah, I know. No, it's not 8:30. It's not the 8:30 game, so he may be okay with this.
Okay. Yes.
But,
Yeah. But I think because he has lost Ricardo Campbell, his captain and main centre back, right? There are
Yes.
two other defenders out injured. They don't have a centre forward because Dennis is struggling with injury. And they have a red card. And I don't think they have the largest squad. And this is now where I think like Arnett Gardens can take advantage. The only problem with Arnett is that they miss too much of their chances.
Yeah.
They don't have a
the
like
prolific striker.
yeah, I don't. Cephas is not a striker. He seems to play out on the flank.
Yeah.
Stephen Clark is not.
Steve Clark, the winger.
Winger.
Yeah, they have a lot of wingers, but no central striker. And I think that is where they are going to struggle. But Coach Bernard, there's a couple of questions that I think they have for you. They're asking, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fit would you say the players are?
Which players?
I think he's speaking in general because we're talking about the amount of players getting injured. But you can only speak to your players, I suppose.
Well, it varies throughout the teams, and that will happen because of the preparatory time that was spent with them prior to the season. Clearly there are some teams that would have been able to put in quite a bit of groundwork, and it is reflecting in their endurance right now. So like, although Waterhouse not getting the results, they're still being dominant and probably not suffering from a lot of injuries. Waterhouse, Cavalier, Portmore, Harborview, Mount Pleasant, I think Mount Pleasant problem is not a one of fitness, but more probably one of organization. You know, Humberland, they would have been probably the last team to come in training, and hence the reasons why I think they are in the position that they are. And I think they are slowly finding their footing. And some points were made earlier about some additions to their squad, as well as some of the quality players that they have inside of their team that can really, get something started. So in terms of the overall fitness of the players on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably put it at around 5 right now, spread out across everybody. And even with the top teams, even with the leading teams in terms of the fitness, it is still not even at the level that it is supposed to be, because there was a lot of uncertainty before the league, so the intensity of the training would have varied, very much during the preseason period.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd say 5 out of 10.
Yeah. And any thoughts you have on that, Coach Drummond?
Haven't seen a lot of the games, but from my learned position, Reverend, I can tell you that in terms of the physical condition of the players, it should be about 50-55% here or there about, because what happened in Jamaica is that it's a crash course in physical preparation that had to take place at the start of the league, because they weren't given the necessary amount of time to get the players to be engaged in their background training that will allow them to last the entire season. Hence my point that the younger players, the fitter players, the players who are easily adapted to the rigors of the competition will go on at the end. You see, because players who are in their mid-30s, 30s and above, it takes a longer while for them to get their muscle back in shape because of the long layoff. And so teams like Cavalier with that age squad, you find that they are starting traditionally very, very fast off the block. Now they have to gradually build because they were in such a long preseason preparation. So teams like Cavalier and teams like Harborview, to a lesser extent, who have a lot of youngsters, will be out the blocks, and Cavalier will be out the blocks because of the youthfulness of these teams. But teams like Cumberland that has age players, Vanzi and Taylors and the Dennises and so forth, they are going to struggle. And with a shortened competition, by the time they get their conditioning and players are adapted to the rigors of the competition ends. And so there's not really much reward for teams like this. And so they will have to put in a lot of new players into the system in order for them to compete competitively with the likes of a Cavalier, a Harborview, a Portmore, and so forth.
Yeah. Coach Speid, while you were off, we were speaking about your game versus Waterhouse and a couple other things. I guess that is why your computer froze. Because yeah, so I don't know if you want to add Coach Drummond have picked you to win. I know,
Great.
Yes. I think you're going to create a lot of chances. And I had mentioned that one of your key players this season, English, will be out. But Coach Bernard assured us that you have
Adequate replacement.
adequate replacement. So we should worry about you. But talk to us a little bit, and then we have a couple of questions that I want to shoot to you and Mr. Bernard and from Mr. Drummond about some coaching stuff. But go ahead, Mr. Speid. What? Yeah.
Well, the truth is, Waterhouse find himself in an unusual position after half of the league so far. So I'm sure Fuzzy is a very good coach. He's gonna come with all guns blazing, because the truth is that he needs to win this game to stay in contention. We also need a point because we dropped points against Tivoli Garden in our last game. We know each other well. It's about even Steven when it comes to, maybe we have a little edge when it comes to who win the games. I mean, even when they're at the top and we are near the bottom, we still compete with Waterhouse.
Oh,
Again.
He's God again. Well, let me just give you this question that they have, Mr. Bernard, and when Mr. Speid comes up, then we speak up. This is a player that we have been watching, Krista J. Yeah, I keep asking you about him, but someone is asking, which position is Christo J. You know Christo J, I think you played against him the last time the Costa Cup was on when I think Mannings played against William Nip, Mr. Drummond. And he kind of gave you a warm time out by
Daily, Crystal Day
Jackson.
Daily.
Christo J. Daily,
Crystal
right?
Day Daily, man.
You played against him out by Jackson. When
Tell
Mannings
you,
played.
we have to dig deep. We have to dig deep to hold out this player throat in the return leg.
In the return leg, yes. Yeah, but Mr. Bernard, what is
Yes.
his best? Somebody's asking you which position is his best position?
You know, while they're having that little deliberation with coach a while ago, I was wondering if I should really answer this question.
Oh, oh we have to
Yeah,
make it,
because
we'll freeze him again. So you can answer.
yeah, Christo J. Daly is proving to be a very versatile player, and I use him accordingly. There's a favored position, you know, and of course, from what has transpired, whenever he plays in that particular position, he's on the score sheet or he creates more opportunities, you know. But we will use him accordingly, according to the games and according to the situations. I'm still not committed to answering that question.
There you go, sir. So let me tell you, not that he's not going to give out the secret. You understand? He's keeping that one close to his sleeve. All right.
Well, he can't keep it because we know where him play best. We know.
Yeah, Coach Speed knows him very well. So who knows already, good for them.
So yeah. Coach Drummond, you played against him in the Costa Cup. Coach Speed, so like you were recruiting him, and Coach Bernard, it looked like you have him. So you know, all three of you must know. But Coach Drummond, I was speaking to Coach Drummond sometime this week, and he asked a couple of questions about coaching down out in the West and the different levels from C to B to A and the availability of courses. How many coaches are available? Like when are the courses? Like if Coach Bernard wants to upgrade now from whatever level he's at, when is the next course? Will he be a part of it? I don't know that you want, right? I'm just suggesting, Mr. Bernard, so I don't know where it's at, right? But
I'm always open to more information, you know. So, and of course, I think we are at a stage, you know, of football where probably there should be a lot more accreditation courses, you know, so as to provide and facilitate for the upgrading of our coaching situation, you know, because the last thing that I really want to see is the rotation or the recycling of the few coaches that we have, you know, because even me in my position, if what I've been trying to do over the years is try and incorporate new persons. I did it with Coach Gardner, Coach Donald Stewart, Coach Damian Stewart, Coach Fabian Taylor. And after I finish this little stint, I'm willing to bring along there are at least two other players who are interested in becoming coaches, and I'd certainly want to, you know, to provide them with that opportunity. So I'm looking forward to coaching courses, not only for myself, but of course to upgrade others as well. You know, so I think it's necessary.
All right, Coach Drummond, what do you have to say? Because I know you have some questions. Go ahead and let me see Mr. Bernard or Mr. Speed can answer them.
Well, I'm happy that I'm in a forum that has both astute gentlemen, because the last discussion I've had with Mr. Speed, we're in some coaching courses, some coaching development session when they were outlining the roadmap for the coaches in Jamaica, and there were some plans. I was told that in 2021 there should be a rollout of the plans in coaching education and the Jamaica football coaching school. But I you know, the Costa Cup is back on us, and you know, the everyday cry that I've gotten is to recommend a coach. Do you know of any coach that would have fit the bill? And sometimes it is disheartening because those persons with the necessary aptitude and the necessary application, those persons might have not been those persons who are certified, qualified coaches. Hence, the question, when will we be having any more of these coaches? And I said it because I've done the last year of a master's program online. I don't think it is all that difficult to organize the curriculum, to have it online, to have coaches who would have been shortlisted, being engaged in these certification and qualification courses online. And so I'm wondering from a JFF perspective, um, I know I spoke to Andre sometime from a CONCACAF's perspective. What are the plans to have these rollout for this current year?
All right. So what has happened so far is that we have we have developed the coaching school and how it's supposed to operate. We have a head of coaching now installed. What is happening is that CONCACAF, what we want to do from here on in is to give people a CONCACAF license. So what we have come up with a curriculum, CONCACAF is supposed to go through it and go through our structure, our coaching school, etc. And they are going to give us an answer in November this year if when we coach a course here, we can assign a CONCACAF CAT license to those coaches, right? So that is what is going to happen. November is a sign-off date. As it relates to the B license, B, we're doing a course this year. We're not sure yet when because we still have issues with getting permission to have all of these people in a particular camp. So what we are doing, we have 4 persons from Jamaica in a Caribbean B license that is being done now. We still can't get them to do the physical part. We also have 6 coaches who failed the B license before. We're kind of zeroing on that 10 to make sure that we can bring them up to speed with the B license. So we have 19 now. So those 10 will carry up to 29. We have a course coming up. It costs us a lot of money to put on, and coaches will be expected. I think the cost is over 200,000 to do the B license because it is being done by overseas persons. We have nobody in Jamaica who is capable of teaching the B license. And I must tell you that the B license is really for elite youths and top amateur team. That's what the B license is for, to be honest. So, yes, people who are in the national program and people who are in the Premier League coaching will get first preference. They will be contacted to take part in this course, which we can only take 24 persons in the B license. Of course, we're behind because we wanted to do 2 of those this year, but it will not happen. But clearly next year we're going to be doing 2. So again, it's gonna be we have to try and educate the persons who are going to be exposed to international competition and international players first, and then we go down. So the B license will be, because all the teams that play in the Premier League, we have about 5 coaches that don't have the B license so far. We want all the coaches because the next step is for us to have the A license, which is supposed to take place next year. And we need a cadre of persons to go up under that A license. So that is really the kind of plan that we have. The C license and the D license. The D license will be just a local license. The C will be a CONCACAF license, but we don't get matriculation yet. Well, that's not the word. We can't teach it yet until CONCACAF pass us and say yes. So anything we do now will still be a JFF license. So we don't know if there's any value in doing a JFF license course now, because even the person who has the JFF level 2 may need to do a couple brush up courses, maybe a DR2 for us to give them a C license. So that is where we are at the moment.
So a level 2, if you have a level 2 JFF license, the equivalent is a C license, C CONCACAF license.
Yes, with a few, but it depends when they assess it. They might say, because of how we did the JFF level 2 license,
yeah,
CONCACAF license is more practical and hands-on. So they might say, hey, that was too much theory. We need you to actually see somebody a coach in an environment and see what them look like, if they can achieve an objective. So there may be an assessment for those people before they can get a CONCACAF C license. Not to do over the whole course, but clearly an assessment or a couple courses.
Okay. But the CONCACAF C license, I think you and I had discussion, is specific to grassroots football. So
yeah.
All right, so what I'm saying is a person who is a level 2 now can coach in the Premier League. That is a JFF license. And how you think they would react to getting a level C that is specific to grassroots? Though it CONCACAF, it may be a higher license. In local football, if you tell a man that you have a license for grassroots, it almost eliminates you from coaching at the Premier League level. But
Right.
in level
But
three,
no, but Jamaica, remember, we can't just bring that rule on until we have enough B license persons. We can't just bring that rule on and say Premier League must be B license. B license is still not to coach Premier League. B license is elite youth and top amateur clubs. So we have to, in Jamaica, have to say, okay, when we reach 200 B license, then we say all Premier League club must have B license coaches. So it's a numbers game, and we're trying to get to the numbers before we can make those rulings. When you say grassroots, don't mistake grassroots with kids anymore. Grassroots is business house. Grassroots is schoolboy football. Grassroots is college football. And why they call them grassroots is because they are not in the FIFA hierarchy of competitions. That's really the definition of a grassroots team.
okay.
They're not in the FIFA hierarchy. You don't get promoted and demoted, right, like that.
Okay. And Coach Drummond, see like you're
a couple of years back, I was in Canada and I was inquiring about coaching in Canada, and I was reliably informed that the JFF advanced, the FIFA advanced level 2 at the time that I did, it was of no use because the curriculum, because like you would have known, if I were to go in Canada, or let us say the States, I haven't been in the States to work with my degree or my master's, that would have to go through an educational evaluation committee, and then they will evaluate and assess what you have and what you need to do in order to reach their system. But what I have found out is that with the advanced level 2, and especially with all the coaching courses that I've done in Jamaica, there really aren't much youth outside of Jamaica. Not that there are any youth in Jamaica either. And as I said, it might be disheartening to a coach to find out that you would have done 3 or 4 different levels, but when you try to matriculate outside of Jamaica, it is of no use. And so I laud the efforts of the JFF, but I'm saying that this has been in the pipeline for far too long. And there are persons who are waiting or willing, but they are not able because, and I can talk from my point of view, a lot of the time these courses are an offering. They never reach to me. I was coaching at the National Premier League level when the B license was offered, but it has never been extended to me. I was at Reno when it was being offered, and the other, I think 7 or 8 coaches from the Premier League were given the opportunity to coach there, and that was in 2018. But I was never given that opportunity. So I asked the question because I want to find out if a person constantly asks, and when questions are asked, we are not given those answers readily because of what is happening or what is not happening.
All right, I think Mr. Speid is still listening, so he's coming back. Anything, Mr. Bernard? Anything you want to add? All right, let me just get Mr. Speid. Yes, Mr. Speid, you're hearing Coach Drummond because he was saying that sometimes access to these things that are being provided, they're not as accessible because he said while he was at Reno, and the course was being offered, he was not. Basically, it wasn't made available to him, though he wanted to do the level B. And the second point he was making is that whatever qualification he has here in terms of coaching outside of Jamaica, it is useless, which is really saying, what you're saying is that CONCACAF license means it can, no, you have a C, you can take it anywhere in CONCACAF, which would include Canada and America. You can clarify that. And I know previously he had said he did a master's online. Is it possible for these courses to be offered, at least a portion of it online, until we're able to facilitate the practical aspect of the course, or that is not? Yeah. Oh, you're frozen again. Mr.
Internet.
Speed. Yeah, the internet over there. That's what happens when we live in a rich community. Too many people use it. Mr. Bernard, you were here in the discussion. What are your thoughts on this? I mean,
No, I share the sentiments that Mr. Drummond expressed earlier. And well, probably at the time when the B license was being offered, I probably wasn't available for other reasons. Right. But I'm sure that whenever it comes around, I think the first set of preferences should really go to the existing Premier League coaches, because of course you would really want them to upgrade their status and improve the quality of their preparation of their teams, you know. But I think one of the things that we're concerned about is the uncertainty. And for the reasons stated by Mr. Speed, they seem pretty genuine, especially in light of the pandemic that exists right now. But I'm kind of really anxious for there to be some kind of a schedule of events that we can look forward to, that coaches can look forward to, coaches at different levels of the football can look forward to as they seek to upgrade themselves.
And
So
try to cut it, but not just to look forward to, but to make preparations. Because if I have to come into
yes,
Christmas for a week or 2 weeks, I want to know that come
yes,
November there is going to be a course, and I'm going to be saving some money towards this for my accommodation and so forth. Because the schedule is important, so that I can
that's
plan
right,
fast. So I can let my employers know that I'll be out of work for another week
right.
or two. And this is what
Hmm.
I was anticipating when I was thinking about these courses and the school and so forth.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Speed.
man, most definitely. Mr. Speed is back. Like him still frozen. Would he be hearing our discussions?
Yeah, but he's hearing. He's just can't. He
Okay.
just can't because it is that is important because I remember not that I want to do these things again, but there's a time that I wanted to, and when they called me to come and do it, because of some qualification from in the States, I just felt like, listen, this is too sudden. I can't just
Yes.
I can't just get up next week and go up to. I think it was being at UTech at the time they were doing it at the University of Technology, but it was a few days and you had to be in Kingston. I couldn't just get up and go, do the
No.
registration and stuff, pay the money, but I couldn't make it. And I think scheduling is important to help people plan. Mr.
Yeah, that's
Speedy,
right.
you're frozen again. Listen, you're going to have to check out the internet, but I think that is. But the challenge now is there are coaches, there are schools that need coaches, but the
Yes.
coaches don't have, especially in, let me say, not Western Jamaica, but in rural high schools.
Communities.
For the
Yes.
doctors to
Yes.
come. I can't because
Right.
we have to be honest that a lot of these things are more accessible to coaches in Kingston and St. Catherine because
Yes.
they're
A
GC
proximity.
roster proximity.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
right.
What about that school that is in the a Balaka? I'm not trying to.
Yeah, man.
You understand
Yeah,
what?
man.
Yeah. Where are they
That's
going
off
to
the
find?
beaten track.
Where
Yeah.
are they? That coach don't have the prerequisite. Is he still allowed to coach?
Right. So just to quickly, I was hearing some of my questions. Yes, there will be a scheduling of events because it's something that we have to put to CONCACAF as to when we're going to be teaching certain courses. And we're also looking at having the courses like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give you 2 weeks break, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get 2 weeks break.
Oh, yeah, because probably that can be
He's gone
difficult
again.
for a lot of us who are otherwise engaged, you know.
Yeah.
Although I think it would have been ideal if these coaches, the duration of these courses should be continuous, so it should extend for like 1 week, 2 weeks continuously. I guess everybody would live in and staying together and stuff. Whenever you have breaks in the courses, it kind of breaks the concentration and the flow of what is being taught and stuff. But I quite understand the fact that a lot of the coaches are probably otherwise engaged, and of course the only available time would be like on weekends. Added to that, you have to do it at a point in time when the football season
Seasons are off.
does have some breaks.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, originally or traditionally, it is the schoolboy season starting out along with the Premier League competition or
Coming
the
to an
All
end.
Ireland competition. Yes, right. So there's the only break you really get is like between the months May to August, September. So it has to be strategically planned during that time, you know. And of course, you can make reservations for other courses during other opportune times, especially the schoolboy coaches immediately after the Manning Cup or the DeCosta Cup. You have a time slot specifically for coaching and accreditations for coaches participating in the schoolboy slash grassroots level coaching.
Well, that's basically what we're doing in Lodi. We went
Mhm.
through, so the professional courses will really be, the B and the A will be within, after Premier League finish and before it start again. But one of
Yeah,
the good things about these courses now is not so much, a lot of it will be done in your environment. So when you're coaching at above you, two people will come show up over there and say,
oh,
tell me what you're doing today. And you give them your lesson, you have to give them your lesson plan, everything you're going to do.
Oh.
as I hear Roddy on that point, I did a level 2 course a few years ago, and at the end of it, in my opinion, I thought that the accreditation acquisition was a little bit too easy, and I was thinking that there should be some kind of an assessment that should be taking place right after. Now I hear Roddy speaking to it, whereby these instructors would turn up at your grounds at a coaching session. And really and truly, that's where you should be assessed in terms of what you're doing. As a matter of fact, I think it should be a surprise visit, and you just turn up and present whatsoever it is that you have planned for the day. And they just observe and see how you execute it, and they would judge you from that, rather
Okay.
than just being bored with a lot of the theories. Well, I shouldn't say use the word bored, but football is a practical sport, and you really should be judged on how you respond to circumstances and changing situations within a game or even within a training session itself. I strongly believe that the Jamaican coaches can be some of the top coaches because of a lot of resources. It kind of enabled them to get a bit very versatile in how they operate. My personal experience is like sometimes I may come, I don't see X player because he's not at work, and I plan the session around him. I have to come up with something else, and I have to present something very credible to the players to have a very successful training session. You may be short of footballs, for instance, right? The ball is not pumped, or a lot of balls are burst, and you have to improvise and come up with something. So I think all of this knowledge and all of this versatility, it really, you can imagine now if you had coaching courses that would just formalize some of the stuff that you're doing and improve your knowledge base so that you can impart a lot more to your players. You're ready. I see you back. You can continue.
Okay, but I must say, yeah, man, I
Mr.
must
Speed.
commend that
Mr.
point
Speed look
because
like him freeze again, man. Let me just help him out. I'm going to help him
Yeah.
out. So go ahead, Mr. Coach
because,
Drummond.
yeah, man, I
Yeah.
was about to make the point that I was thinking along that line because for me, I would have done maybe 4 years of practical football. I did advanced football when I was at GC Factor. So it's 4 years, and to just go a weekend or a week to do a course, and then you are assessed there and then. I don't believe that is enough to say that because a typical football course lasts 60 hours. When I did a semester of football at GP first, and having done it for 4 semesters, just imagine the amount of time I'd have spent. And for someone to just come for a weekend or 2 weekends and they're assessed and they're accredited, I don't think that is doing justice to a sport I love. I think we should have what we call online or ongoing assessment, and these assessments
Yeah.
should be a year in every biennial refresher, because that's how the professional of sports goes, because nothing remains constant, and we are living in a changing environment, and so I mean with all the new rules and the new ramification, I think however long you would have had and whatever the qualifications are, you should be called in from time to time to have these refresher courses, because it impacts the whole product. And I mean, I was thinking along that line to say, because there are some coaches on the system who have not done a course since 2000 or have not done a course since 95, but they are still in the system. And we quarrel about whether or not we are adapting to the new rules and the changes in the sport. We have to do better as an organization for these persons.
Mr. Speed, are you here with us? Or are you still frozen?
You may have to type.
Yeah, one of the things I want to suggest is, because with what you're saying happening out in the West, I think the last episode of the show I spoke to Mr. Speed about it, that there should be within this whole setup a database, right? A database of all the coaches at the different level, and explaining. So, say I'm a principal of a school, I should be able to type in some field within the GFF in a database that shows me all the coaches available in Westmoreland or in Western Jamaica, what levels they're at. You understand me? And I could even look at that and see where they have coached before. That way, if I want to interview coaches, I know where to go and find them. Because we can't have schools not being able to find coaches at a certain level in the areas that they are, if you want to develop the sport. You understand me? I think that is something that we need to look at doing. Mr. Speed, are you here?
Yeah, let me just go quickly. Like our A license is over 9 months. A B license will probably be over 6 months. So what you're suggesting, that's exactly what we're doing. A C license will be over like 6 weeks. So, but a lot of it is teaching you how to actually coach, not the whole heap of theory that we used to have. It's gonna be 60-40. So it's a whole different dynamics how we're going to be approaching things, and we're going to make sure that people can do certain things. Teach a team how to play in the moments, which is more important than the philosophy.
Oh man, this is so good. You know that this is. You know what is so funny? We've never had an issue with this internet in all the episodes that we have done. But we go work this out. But you're saying something, Coach Drummond, before and Mr. Speed, let it go quickly.
I was about to say that one of the funny things, why, because I've had this discussion in 2008. Having a database of codes and look at codes and so forth. But you see, where anomaly is the common man benefits more. And so what happens is that coaches use this opportunity to market themselves and to price themselves. And so you the database and want a coach, but because of the
prestige.
See, they now look like Coach Drummond freeze on me. Mr. Speed, go ahead before.
Right,
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, so it's a whole new approach we're trying to achieve. And each year you have to do continuous professional qualifications for you to keep your license. So we're going to be having a licensing system, and you have to do like 15 hours every I don't remember if it's every 2 years, every 3 years for you to keep a license when you go back to renew. So it's not the same, because what we really want to do is for us to be able to turn out quality players, and the foreign person who is buying the player don't say, well, him can't do certain things yet, so him cheap now. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Now it's at international level, when national team are able to do much better, because you'd have gone through the moments with your local coach. It could be that this national coach call you, I only have him for 7 days of the week, the player need to work on this. and you're able to do it because you're on the same knowledge level like the national senior team coach. So some of those are the things we're looking at and trying to see if we can get them done.
Somebody having 2 questions. Let me just what is going to be the prerequisite for these courses, and what will be the cost, or is it going to be free? Is it going to be JPL?
No, yeah, Karumi, no free lunch. Pay for every course, and the higher you go, the more it costs because we have to get people from overseas and put them up. The coaching school is supposed to be a profit, not a cost on the JFF, but a neutral center. And so all of these courses will have a calendar which will be given out in November, sometime maybe earlier, but clearly by November. Once we're assessed by CONCACAF, and there's no free courses, and they are very expensive. The B and the A license, they are expensive, and it is for professional people, not people who want to do a course and just sit down and don't use it. You get an A license and it costs you 300,000-400,000. It's because say, okay, that's 4 months earnings you have spent here to get that A license. But remember, eventually it will pay you back because you'll be a top of the top coach.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Coach Bernard was I don't know if you heard this part, but he was what I think I want to ask you on his behalf is, so once this course starts in November, someone like him would be
first in line. Second in line, national coach first, then Premier League coach. But a lot of national coach already. Almost all of them have a B license already, so it's Premier League coach person.
Okay. Oh, no.
Not first come, first serve. No, it's in the national interest first. Not first come, first serve. National interest.
In the national interest. So the national coaches, then the Premier League coaches, and then after that, no, it will trickle down to the.
What we want to do is to give each parish at least one though. You want that type of expertise in each parish, even with one person.
Okay. And these courses, I suspect, will be held at the Captain Norris. But like I said, that you'll be going to the actual training ground for the practical part of the courses.
Yes.
All right.
You'll be assessed. You have to take them, and somebody will come and assess you, ask you questions, ask you why you do that. What you're trying to achieve is something that is very dynamic. You can't hide. They're not going to turn up on you. They'll tell you when they're coming.
Yeah,
they'll say, I'm coming in 2 weeks, and you will be assessed like that, what you're trying to achieve. And you have to show success, or else then coming back the next day.
Okay. But your licensing system, no, it does not allow a coach to ever lose his license.
We don't have no system now. We tried it, but we never. I have a license for 3 years. It expired, but we never enforce the licensing system. But we have all of the mechanics to do it, but we never enforce.
So when your license expires, how do you do a test to see, just do you just get it renewed, or you have to do some other thing to find out if you're still up to scratch with the development?
No. You do continuous performance evaluation, which you go to the courses that them have, right? That's one. If you coach youths or girls are the disadvantaged in football, then we might tell us you have to have a police record too. So, and then you get back your license.
Okay. All right. So the level 2 license expires after how long?
Then it expire. No, hold on. We don't have level 2 license now. What we have is the person have a diploma. Them pass an exam. Them have a diploma. Then don't have a license.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I hear many people saying they have level 2.
They don't have no license.
They have a level 2 diploma.
Yes.
Oh, so it's a diploma.
Yes.
So here's the problem I have with this issue. No, when I have a diploma,
please. Come on,
Karumi, no. Your license enough to win games.
No.
Man, that is a coach that is there texting it.
Trust me, every week.
Oh, okay.
Every week. But my thing is this, because football is evolving so much in terms of how it is played, how it is managed, the medical side, the nutritional side. I get a diploma in 1995. all right? And I don't do any of your courses, but I can still do coaching.
Yeah, but you can't get a license.
No, follow me. I get the diploma. So if I
Yeah.
get the diploma that says I'm a level 2, what can stop me from coaching 10 years from now if I don't do no more courses?
No, you can't coach if we say you have to have a license. And that's what we're going to say. You have to have a license to coach.
Okay, so you're saying no, you don't have a licensing system.
No.
No,
So
the structures are not in place as yet.
okay, so
And
I'm
that is
having
what they're attempting to do.
no, I see. So the person then who have his level 2 right now, who has not upgraded, not gone to any courses, he can still coach because you don't have a licensing system.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once the licensing system is implemented, what it means is that there are some things that if you have not done them over the last 3 years, if you didn't attend this course, we're not going to renew your license.
Correct. And
Yeah.
as I said, for the disadvantaged and the youths, we're going to tell us to go get a police record too. We don't flesh it out, but that's what we're looking at.
All right. So is there dialogue? What I want to ask though is no, this is the next step. Are you having dialogue with at least some of your core coaches to kind of put together this? Or this is just something that you decide at the top and disseminate to the people at the lower end? Or
No,
is
man,
it
remember-
calling a coach Ludlow Bernard as an example, or a coach Anthony Patrick's, some, you know.
Remember,
different coaches
you know,
systems?
we had gone around the island and tried to speak to all the clubs about what we're going to do. We did every single parish, right? So some people might not be.
Freeze again.
You freeze again, yes. But you understand
Yeah.
the question I'm asking is that did you get all the stakeholders involved? And I think Mr. Speid was saying they actually went around the island and spoke to the clubs, and I suspect Issa.
Yes. Yeah, man. Clearly some kind of structure has to be in place so that they can enforce some of the things that they want to do. And I think it is only fair that they set up such a structure so that you can manage the qualifications of these coaches, so that they can also manage what is it the information that they're gonna impart to their respective players at their respective clubs. You know, because every day the game is changing, there are new systems, new information coming forward, you know, and of course it is also helping to improve the game, you know. And I kind of find that over the last 10 or so years, there haven't been much in terms of coaching systems, coaching educational systems in place that coaches can readily go to. And when I say systems, now I mean coaching courses for primary and prep school players,
Yeah.
for U16 players, for under 20 players, or for coaching at the amateur as against the professional levels.
Yeah.
And also international. So it is very important that the education arm of the JFF come up with these systems and put them in place and enforce accreditation on a timely basis, like every 3 years or so, you know, so that a coach will keep in touch with the dynamics of and the changes of the game, you know. I have found that as a result of watching, in the absence of a lot of these courses, watching a lot of the football, like for instance with the English league, there are a number of coaches that I would probably, you know, look at, even if they are not my favorite team. You know, I'm a Liverpool man, so of course I tend to favor what Jurgen Klopp does, but I also am admiring what Bielsa does at Leeds, what Pep does at Man City. You know, and Nagelsmann as well, what he does at his club in Germany. I really do look at their teams and see what they do, and I try to put all of the information together. And it helps with my knowledge base as I go along, and I can make references. Thankfully, the television is there, so I don't get myself caught up in the entertainment aspect of the game, but more the educational aspect. And I really do school myself. But of course, I know it could be reinforced a lot more, just to make some of the knowledge that I have and just to reinforce some of the knowledge that I have and make it official if these courses are available.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Speid. Yeah, will this information be available on the JFF website?
Yeah, it will be as soon as we know exactly what we're doing. But for now, we're in the planning stage. And just to go back, yeah, we have about 6 coaches that is working on the project with people from CONCACAF. So it's not that we are working on it alone. And we even had one of the presenters on the B license was assigned to us for about 6 months. So it's a long process, but we are almost finished with all the paperwork now to present it to CONCACAF. In the first instance. So it's not that we don't take advice from a lot of people. We do. It's just that and then 6 persons continue to work on it, coaches from all over Jamaica that were selected. So it's a process, you know.
Yeah, I think my thought is, why don't you create, because seeing that there's a school, why don't you create a completely new website, call it Jamaica Soccer Coaching School, where
Maybe that will happen. Maybe
Yeah.
the principal might decide that he want to do that. But for now, because we're just having so much other stuff doing, take a little while.
Yeah, so they're asked, what about persons interested? Because this is part of the thing.
Yeah, that will be a part of the school match commissioner, physical trainer.
Here
We'll
you go.
also have goalkeeping course. We'll have management course. All of those will be a part of the school.
All right, you know what is important, because, and I realize that some of this is changing in the league, is maybe it's not a medical doctor, but the person who provides like medical aid. I mean, people used to call them who is a team doctor, but they are not. A lot of
I mean, first aid.
First aid.
Yeah.
Are those persons trained and qualified? Is it that the team has a doctor and them just take a look at man who is there, who is
No,
has
man.
been around the team?
As far as I know, all of the professional team have trained people on them bench, man. Trained person working in a hospital. Those are the ones that train people. And as far as I know, I don't know of any club that don't have trained persons, as medical around their bench. And of course, JFF used to run courses of first aid responder persons before. Yeah. So it's something that we'll still do.
Okay, and then this
Yeah, and I think also you say, gentlemen, that like for instance at my club out at Harborview, a number of the persons that I have assisting, are in fact GC Foster graduates.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've seen whereby there's an outpouring of a number of these graduates now, and they are getting involved. So even they come with some amount of qualifications and knowledge, So that helps. It is good employment for them, and it also helps the quality of the service that is provided to each of the teams as well.
Yeah, because I think this is a good avenue for even footballers who they may not be able to get coaching jobs, but they could get jobs as trainers.
That's right.
Because they have completed a course. They could get job as persons in first aid, as match commissioner.
Masseuse, physiotherapy, trainers, goalkeeping coach.
Goalkeeping coaches, qualified coaches. Yeah. And I mean, it should be the kind of, maybe it ought to be done through in such a way that when they get these qualifications, there's this hard thing. That means that they can work in the Caribbean as a goalkeeping coach or as a physical trainer in the Caribbean, and not just limited to Jamaica. I think that would be a big move, because it is opening up the doors of employment for,
that's right.
Like I said, many of the footballers who probably may not have the most subjects and a degree in business and stuff, but they can be employed.
It provides an opportunity for them, for them to go and get qualified and involved in football. And with so many teams participating in the schoolboy competitions, I'm sure that there's a demand out there. I'm looking at the athletics, for instance, and I'm seeing whereby you find some good athletes turning out from a Petersfield, from a Rhodes Hall, from a there are some, and it is because of these type of qualified persons being gainfully employed. Because they can't get into the KCs or the Calabars or the St. Jacob. So it is a good spread, and I think that should have the same effect where the football is concerned as well.
Yeah.
Right. So this person is the strength and weakness of our players. Remember, these coaches will be coached to coach
To
different.
identify that.
Yes, so they will identify those things based on how they are going to be coached.
I know this question, and we're going to take a few more questions, and then we can wrap up. But I don't listen. My poll position, I can tell you what I think. Like somebody, and I mentioned this. I think the first week, Coach Bernard, when I invited you, it was that week when they played against Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
And I think
With
it
the
was
incident.
with the incident when the guy hit Akwesa Chang in his face, and I think it was intentional.
Yes.
Though we don't have VAR, I think there should be something where these plays can be looked at and retroactive action be taken if we want to get it out of the game. So we may not have VAR, but there are some incidents that we can look at the video, and there's a group that looks at some of these plays and try and root them out of the game.
I agree with you. But again, it have to be a group that have the expertise. So you'd have to probably include the referees to go back over the game and say, yes, this should have
That's
been a
right.
red card. Because if an administrator come and say, yeah man, that should have been a red card, then it could be disputed. Yeah, what you know about the offense when it
No,
should be a red
man, that
card?
is entirely the purview of the referee, but it should be in association with this administrative person, because this
Yeah,
administrative person may probably be the disciplinary committee,
yeah.
right, who is going to apply sanctions. So in the absence of the VAR, I think there should be some kind of a review. The referee should review some of the incidents that went by unpunished during the game, and see if there is merits for
Further action.
applying sanctions and cards. You know,
Yeah.
I don't really think they should just go by just like that. In the meantime, we can in stages try to implement a kind of a VAR system. Roddy, will there be VAR? Will VAR be used in the CONCACAF games?
It's
Or it
frozen.
freeze again?
Frozen
Yeah,
again.
that one will be interesting. And I ask the question because at least probably you could start at that level and you trickle it down to probably a Premier League final, semi-final, or a Olivier Shield final, or something at that level, because it will be very expensive and difficult to really go around with this type of equipment and technology. You heard what I asked, Roddy?
If the VAR can be used sometime,
No.
No, if VAR will be used at the CONCACAF games.
well, I don't know. They're really improving, but I was told that the television company that video our games could provide VAR.
Oh,
So
okay.
we just not
Listen.
put it. We just not use it.
Put it to them. Because listen, I see some half-side call.
Yeah.
In this, I think somebody have it down here. Some of these half-side calls are crazy.
Yes.
Right. But again, they would have to instruct them to allow the player to continue
Yes.
before they
Before
call it. Because you
No,
can't.
listen. No,
When
man,
you call the outside
I
call,
am not talking about marginal calls. I'm talking about the bad ones. I can
Yeah.
understand the marginal, but there have been some bad, like I think Arnett Gardens was playing a high line in their last game. And the amount of times the players were not offside. And it was
Okay.
given offside. And I think it's because of the view of the official. I think I don't know if there is up or down.
No,
Yeah.
I think some of these officials young. Some of them is the
Yeah.
first I'm seeing them. So, So
Yeah, but at least they should be schooling the principle of how to deal with these kind of situations, because I think the principle is that you need to be with the last man at all time.
correct.
So you need to be able to physically move, and you're supposed to have a kind of peripheral vision that you can see the man, the defender in front of you,
And the
and you can
ball.
also see the ball.
Yes.
Right? I think that is what they are trained to do. So they must apply it anytime they come to games.
Some of them are full. That's
Yes,
But
definitely.
let me just oh no, I think we got that one already. So let me just get this one. So just as how players have a player pathway, will you have a coaching pathway for young coaches?
not just young coach, but every coach. Is you go from D. D will be where you start, which will be just a Jamaican qualification. It's not a CONCACAF qualification. CONCACAF qualification.
Starts at C.
Oh, it starts at C. All right,
Starts at C and then
Coach Bernard, Brian has been asking you this. This is around the fourth time that he's asking this question. So I want to make sure I put it up so you can answer it until Mr. Speid come back. Yeah. So he's asking what impact has Lovell Palmer has on the young players since his return.
Yeah, well, you may have recognized that there are a lot of young players in our squad, and probably that is a philosophy that we have undertaken, at least for this season. And clearly, the inclusion of Lovell Palmer in the group, it must be for a reason. And we figure that he not only provides the playing experience, but he also provides a wealth of knowledge, both on the field and off the field in particular. From what I observed with Lovell, he has participated in numerous one-on-one conversation with some of the young players, especially when they're going through some difficult times. You know, and the good thing about it is that he's not only playing, but he's playing fairly well enough for them to really have that amount of respect. Yes, I know that he has his credentials beside his name, but being able to physically play with him and see him in action, you know, it provides a wealth of knowledge and learning for them. And I'm very extremely grateful for his presence, because there are instances when, you know, with some of the players, they just need a little reassurance, because sometimes I really do get hard on some of them. He's the one that calms them down. He's the one that is able to speak with them and, you know, and show them that, because I used to coach Lovell Palmer before, so he's accustomed to me and he knows exactly that I mean real good for the players. But sometimes you really have to be hard on some of these players if you really want them to perform. So I know it is part of his endeavor to become a coach as well, so I'm also facilitating him, right? But his influence has been, and his impact has been extremely positive.
Yeah, wonderful. Coach Speid, are you back with us? Are you frozen?
Free years again.
What is going on with his thing?
Yeah,
Well, there's somebody. I'm trying to run through the questions so we can close. We can't be improving the game tactically, but when coach is trying to play between the lines, instant offside, which is what was happening. I agree. So I think the officiating has to improve as a coaching improve. If we're going to improve the whole look at the football, right? You saw that, Mr. Speid. We can't be saying improve the game tactically, but when coaches try to play, I think in between the lines, instant offside. The referee
in between the lines, another problem, because that in between the lines means that you have four defenders still in our defensive line, a line in front of you. It's really when you play the ball through the lines is the problem.
Through the lines, yeah.
But coaching and refereeing, they're all a part of the game. The better both of them become, is the better the game become. The players become. So they work hand in hand, yes.
Yeah. Well, just as how the assistant ref can intervene in the Mount Pleasant penalty call, maybe having more eyes on the match could help.
Well, you can just say that referee in the middle wanted to listen. You have some referee not even come here. They're not going to listen none at all. So that was just a lucky break. It won't happen often. I mean, even the optics of it is not so good. So you won't see that happen very often, I don't think.
Yeah, but and then someone is saying that the referees are human, which is true, Coach Huey. But listen, the marginal calls I can understand. There are certain calls that are marginal, can go either way. But some of the calls, like I'm telling you, the Aquasa chunk, and I support Mount Pleasant, but the guy should have been red card in that game.
I agree with you. There's no place in the game for off the ball incident, because and those type of incident, listen, you can actually hurt other human beings, like juke out them high, you know, broke them nose. I don't believe in off the ball incident. If you do it, I am turned off. Players shouldn't do it, and they must get the full extent of the law, regardless if I'm my player or somebody else player. That's how I feel about off the ball incident. It's not a part of the game.
So, like, I'm speaking primarily to those incidents. The next incident, and again, I'm a supporter of Mount Pleasant. In the game against Harborview as well, Aquasatran got away. Alwyn Harvey, one of the youths that I grew up, I mean, Raise him up. He had a tackle that he never even got a yellow card. He never won the ball, and the player was going to get a free.
It was the last defender.
The last defender. He never even got a yellow card, though they got the free kick. So I'm saying that.
Yes.
Why did they give a free kick? He never got a yellow card, and he was the last defender. And if you're admitting that he fouled the player and he was the last defender, you never yellow card him. That the rules being applied there don't make any sense.
Last defender is not a yellow card here.
Last defender is supposed to be a red card.
Exactly. Not a yellow.
But I think what happened in that instant. I'm just being like on the side of the referee just for the purposes of this discussion, and I really don't think it should even matter. This incident took place like 5 yards over the half line, so clearly Chung would have had quite a bit to go before he would reach the goal. So I'm assuming that probably would have been the reason. But then again, I'm not so clear on the law itself if the law states that the last defender, irrespective of where he's at, because look at this other situation. What if there was like a corner, your team had a corner, and you lost possession of the ball, and you were the only one, say like 5-10 yards within the half, and you gain possession of the ball, and you had this clear path to go to the opposition goal, and somebody ran you down and took out your legs. That should have been a red card. So I don't even think that irrespective of where you are or where the players are, that it should determine whether the card is a red or a yellow. So I think in that instance, I think that the official, they failed to apply the rules, as per the book.
I think that is what they say when I spoke to our official before. Distance, they think about distance to put somebody catch you, all of those things, or you're in front of the goal. So I think there's an interpretation factor to the last man. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
What is acceptable on the field? If not, they will be fined, maybe. Oh, well, that is true. I think players need to be too educated, but some things need to be educated, some things need to be eradicated. In other words, there are certain players who have a propensity to do a lot of off-the-ball stuff because they have been allowed to get away with it. One of the hardest things to do, is to get people to unlearn bad practices or to unlearn anything at all. When for the last 10 years in this league, you used to get away with hitting people and punching them and all of that. You can't get that out of a person now. Unless you're going to enforce the full letter of the law that as soon as it is seen, it is an instant red card with a few games out. I'm not into just educating players because I'm saying our younger players are not playing that way. This is a common practice with the older players.
Yes.
And that's what I've seen. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see this kind of a thing.
No, man, you're perfectly correct, man.
From the younger players in the league.
You're perfectly correct. And I mean, in my team, and I'm sure as well as in Roddy's team, you really don't encourage that kind of play because it has no place if a player should go away internationally. I mean, not only your talent will be assessed and observed, but your whole decorum and your behavior on the pitch in relation to the opponents as well as your teammates. You have to conduct yourself in a particular manner whenever you're playing the game, and it should not be encouraged. But a lot of the players are set in their ways, and to some extent the officials would not have played their part in trying to reinforce some of the rules and ensuring that the player plays the game fairly. So I think sometimes it is the will to apply the rules that is affecting some of the referees, and I really can't understand the reason why. Why they fail to make some calls or why they fail to make certain decisions, but it shouldn't be too difficult for them. And you have a perfect opportunity now with this revamped league, and all eyes are on you. That is even more reasons why you need to try and get to perfection in terms of how you apply yourself out there.
I agree that with you 100%, but let me tell you why. It starts from the coaches, which the referee is happy to say. Listen, If a player going to do all of those things and put my team in a jeopardy to lose points, right?
Yeah.
Or put me in a jeopardy to lose my job as the coach,
Yeah.
eventually I don't know what he's going to do on a field. Him not going to play. So some of these players going to realize that them career will be on the line, not just a fine. What are you fining them for? People can afford to lose 5,000 and 10,000 of them pay, and them still say,
Right.
"Oh, we will lose 5,000 for Buckerman." Well, that's not
Mm-hmm.
helping anybody. So is
Yeah.
their career going to must be put on the line? But them understand, say, "Oh, we're not tolerating these type of things, man. No way."
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
very
man.
good point. So there is a part of it where the coaches have to take some position on the whole matter. But the thing is though, now I could understand when the referees felt intimidated because they were playing at the home grounds of teams. No,
That's why I said the opportunity is there now
yeah,
because yeah, you're at neutral venue and all the games are televised, and I'm sure that all of these referees are being assessed in an even greater way.
yeah, and because watch it, I have heard referees I've said before that certain decisions were made because of just the people at the fence and the pressure that they were under, and they just never felt
Yes.
secure. There,
Mm-hmm.
all of that pressure is gone. There are no spectators. No player can run up into your face. Yeah, so do the right thing. I'm not telling you to red card everybody. I mean, there have been a lot of red cards, and I'm saying most of them. I've not seen a red card so far where I felt like, no man, that was wrong. Most of the red cards have been justified. All I'm saying is that there could have been some other cards issued for incidents that happened off the ball. And we have to protect the younger players. Too many of our players have been hurt and injured by unnecessary aggressive play in our
Well,
league.
not only that, when a player know that him can take shortcut to get the ball and him not going to be penalized, he's going to take shortcuts. If him know him have to learn to intercept and position properly to win this ball. If him can just run going and lick you over because
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. He might just run going and lick you over because it's not gonna happen. So if him know that okay, the ref might penalize if you try to get the ball illegally or try to stop people illegally and have a genuine try, then them have to run to play better. But as I'm saying, all of this help us to play better and become a better football nation if all the rules are adhered to and start to be appreciated.
Hey man, listen, we have been on for it's 3 hours now, and it's holidays, and you guys have family, you have
Yes.
games and things. So I'm telling you. And but listen, Coach Bernard, it has been what 4 weeks, and finally,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
finally, it was so good to have you grace in our presence. You notice we don't put you under any pressure because we're
Yes.
all friends. So I don't know if you were intimidated, but I know you're having some challenges. But then,
No, man. No, man.
yeah,
No,
man.
man. As a matter of fact, I ended up using my tablet. You know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So wonderful. So good to have you on. Let me put up just coach. You will have, based on the positive feedback from the present league going forward, when the league have a full season, we'll have game, home, or a specific ground. I don't think we can go back to some of them home venues. Yeah. That's me personally. I don't know. I just think the look on television, if all the games are going to be televised, it have to have a look. I don't want to go on no picture me seeing a Bray brown and no green. Right?
Yeah.
The look, if you can get the look at the ground, like Draxall has a good surface, but it don't look
Yeah.
good. It don't look good.
Okay.
The ground itself don't look good. Because
Okay.
they have tarpaulin and all that stuff. If you have people in there,
Yes.
but
Okay.
the surface is good. It's
Yes.
almost
Yes.
like if you could take that surface and put it in the Harborview Stadium, you're
Yes.
good. You
Yes.
understand me? So unless I wouldn't play here. But Catherine Hall is a very good venue
Right.
that could be used out the west. I don't know. I don't know how they look, because I'm telling you, the look on television is very good.
Yes.
So I'm not sure
Right.
how even I know CONCACAF games have been played at Arnett, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
how it because the thing is that they normally play those games when no football is being played on the surface. So it's
Yes.
normally full of green. Now that they're training on it, will the surface look the same and feel the same?
Yeah, more surfaces are in good condition because there's not that use and abuse of the field itself, you know. But and I think what adds to the quality in this respect is the fact that the games are being played in daylight. You know, I think when you're talking about Arnett or even Harborview or I guess any other ground probably other than the stadium is the whole matter of the lighting, you know, because the lighting also adds to the quality and the aesthetic of what is being presented, you know. So even at Arnett Gardens in the day, I think it still would be a good look on the television.
Okay. I know they have done some work. They say on the Waterhouse surface. I don't know, but
Yes,
but with if this pandemic continue in November, then that may also pose some problems in terms of exposing the players to all of these different
that's
venues.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
but Karoom is asking us.
Arumi.
Karoom is want us to stay on because nobody can go nowhere. But but it look like you're not married, Karoom.
Well,
Because
want to leave a living room, Karumi, and go to
yeah,
the
yeah.
Come Karumi, man. A 3 hours, man. Come on.
Some people have bedroom and those things. You understand?
Yeah,
They have wives and stuff like
next
that.
room, yes.
And some people
yeah,
have
man.
so there are other things. But listen, again, thank you again, Coach Bernard. Hope you will be able to grace us with your presence. Thanks to Coach Godfrey Drummond out the West, just expressing some of the plight of the coaches and the schools out there. So if you're a coach, the schools out in the West, they are looking for coaches, right?
No,
Because
just to say this, is that in the West, we're going to be having some of these courses in the long run, like a C license course will be done in the parish, not at the national level, because that is where it's supposed to be done. So that
Or
is
like
what
a regional level.
yes, that is what we're trying
Yeah.
to do next year. By next year, we're trying to have those in the parish, so we can have 24 coach on the parish. So we won't be
okay,
a big deal for them to travel, come out town, and all of that and all of that. So that's what
okay,
we're.
that's very good, very good. Again, also thanks to Mr. Rudolph Speed. He's here every day. We had Melvin um, Doxilly. I think his name is from St. Lucia, place of Cavaliers. He was here. For those of you who came on late, please go back and watch it. Big up Karumi, Mr. Porter, Naktai, every week, all of the every week people. Then Brian, man, stick to the end. Brian Mighten, from beginning to end. He's the alpha and omega of the group, right? He's always here from beginning to end. Big up to all the persons who checked in. Remember, before you leave, like the video, right? Or subscribe to the channel, share the video, let someone else know that we're doing this. Every week we look at the Premier League because we love local football. We watch the Barclays Premier League, we watch the Spanish League, we watch all the leagues. But at the end of the day, this is our football, and if we don't talk about it and promote it, then who else will do it? And so that is why we do it. We want our local players to be playing in Europe. We want to see our national team doing well with local players in it. And so we want to
Yes.
speak about them and all of that. We're happy to see that we have 16-year-olds. Somebody earlier, Coach Ludlow Bernard said that they can't believe that Yemen is a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Yes, he is. But what I don't. But I mean, you have to talk about Christopher Ainsworth. He played at 15 from Cavalier. Come
Here
on.
you go.
Right,
I had to
Christopher
right.
beat Lodi, I know him had this youngster, and I had to put a young person who's younger than him.
Yeah, man. Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. So thank you again for joining us. Join us next week, same time, and we'll let you know if we're going back to our original 2 o'clock time and saying, don't know who will we have in next week. I know that we're gonna have a Guyanese player in the league coming and talking about their own experience with our regular panelists and saying, continue to pray for Coach David Price, who's normally here with us, but he is not doing well. So pray for a speedy recovery for him. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All the best in your games over the weekend. Coach Bernard, Mr. Speed, all the best on Monday. Hope when we talk again, both of you will be smiling from the start because you'd have gained 3 points. Yeah, and then we can see how that goes. But again, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Happy Independence to everyone. God bless you. Please stay safe. If you don't have a problem with anything, go and get vaccinated. If you don't want to, at least wear your mask and social distance because you only have one life. and the person
Right.
beside you only have one life. You know, we may know how to take out a piece of chicken out of the pot when we mother turn our back, but that don't mean we are cat and have 9 life. You understand me? We only
Yeah.
we
And I
only
just want to tell you that I'm fully vaccinated and I urge everybody to go and get vaccinated. That's my stand. Who don't want it, that's their choice, but I'm fully
Yeah.
vaccinated and I
there
am
you
happy
go,
with
sir.
that.
And I must commend the Premier League because we have had no reports of a player or support staff testing positive for the COVID, and many people, many affluent people, influential people thought like this was going to collapse, and they were predicting that people going to get the virus and how many players, and in no time the league would be shut down. So you guys are doing
No, what they don't realize, that professional players are pretty much more educated.
Not only educated, but also very, very active. You know, I think that probably reduces the chances
yeah,
of
right, right,
contracting disease as well. You know,
because they're
so
always, yeah.
yeah, man. But it has been very good so far that there's yet to be a single player that has been identified as contracting the disease.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Karumi, you can get the Cuban vaccine, man. Listen, anybody who can't get to the vaccine that they want, but bless you again. Coach Bernard, enjoy the rest of your weekend, sir. You and
Thank
your
you.
family. Yeah, man. All
No,
good, great having you. Hope to have you again when you have some more time.
no problem, sir.
Yeah,
All
man.
right then, Roddy.
Yeah,
Good.
man. Bless you.